Okay, ran into some technical difficulties, you guys. What the heck is this? I think it's probably because everybody's on YouTube right now. So I don't know. Anyhow, let's get down to business. Let me get rid of this. I had to use my phone to at least operate on what's going on here. So, all right. So let's see here. So while we wait for our special guest to come up here, we're going to give you a little bit of a, what do you call it? Oh, he showed up. I was going to do my little introduction, like Don Cornelius. We have a great symbol from Black America. More dips in your hip, more pumps in your bump, and more glide in your stride. Peace, love, and soul. I'm joking, y'all. Anyhow, we got the great Keep It Techie coming up in here. He's making his way to the stage. We gave him his trailer and his Avion water. I think that's what he wanted. So hopefully he likes that. You know, we got a little thank you tray on the way back. But we're going to get into, as you guys can see there, the questions are already in the description box. And for those people that have Keep It Techie's channel and Cash App and all that, please put that in the chat as we go through things, because I'm going to be giving him the star treatment like I try to do. And if you have any questions, I'm quite sure he'll be obliged to answer them. Okay, so let's get the show on the roll, ladies and gentlemen. It is Keep It Techie. Come on, slow computer. What the hell?
Hey, what's up, boy? How you doing?
Did it work now? Keep It Techie in the building.
What's happening, man? Can you hear me?
Let's see. I can't hear you. Hold on.
Uh,
Say something else.
testing. Can you hear me?
Oh, shiznick. Can you guys hear Keep It Techie?
Make sure my mic is.
Hit
Hold on.
hit
Can you hear
one
me
in
now?
the chat if you can.
Can you hear me now?
Let's see. I guess I'm not sure. Let me test something here. Because maybe it's my sound.
Testing.
I think it's my sound, Keep It Techie.
Okay. I can hear you perfectly.
What the
I
hell?
just, yeah, I guess you could
Do I
just
have
can't hear
anything
me.
plugged up? Let me check my. Somebody said they can hear you.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez. All right, let me get something here. Da-da-da-da. Let me see if it took my camera. I don't get it. Hold on here. Something. He said you can hear him, and I guess y'all can hear me, but I cannot hear him. Wow.
Yeah.
What is happening here? Okay. Let me see something here. I started my computer over. Let me see.
You probably
Everything's plugged
drop back
up,
in.
unplugged. Okay. Camera. You know what? Let me try. Yes, man.
Testing.
Okay. It says my
Can you
mic
hear
is
me now?
muted. Damn. incredible. Okay, I can hear that. Okay, let me get out and go back in. How's that? Let me try that.
Yeah, that might work.
Okay, leave the studio.
Yeah, so what's up, guys? You know what I'm saying? I'm taking over Art New Style channel, you know what I'm saying, for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. You know what
Okay,
I'm saying?
it
Oh, you can you hear me now?
yes, I
All right.
do like.
Hold on. Now I can't hear you, Art. Sound like it's
Oh, how about now?
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Wow, what is going on here?
I had
This-
to go in and come out too, twice. So in order to get it to work when I was trying to get into it because it wasn't recognizing my camera. I think it's like a stream yours thing, probably.
Okay, because I started it with my phone because my computer was tripping. I'm like, what the hell is this? Anyhow, well, we here though,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people that are here, please hit the what do you call it? The like button, and then also please put us keep it techies channel and Cash App in the chat because we're going to move on here. All right, so we finally got you. We've been planning this, so we're finally here now, and I
Oh yeah.
was able to get all my what we call it, my errands and everything going and stuff, and got here, and boom, the computer was like, I'm still gonna make you late, but we got
Oh
this.
yeah.
All right, so brother, keep it tech. Can you introduce yourself, sir?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, so first off, Ort, thank you for inviting me on your channel. I definitely appreciate it. Shout out to what you do. You create a whole bunch of great conversations that are needed to help, you know, black men, black people in general. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you first and foremost. But my name is Josh. I created a channel a couple years back called Keep It Techie, where I talk about the Linux operating system. And most people don't know what that is, you know what I'm saying? But just to put it in simple terms, because we'll get more into it later on, Linux operating system is just basically another operating system similar to Microsoft and Mac OS. That's pretty much the difference. But it's also free and open source, meaning that you don't have to pay for it, as well as free as in freedom. You don't have to worry about any of these big tech companies spying on you as you do normal tasks on your system. And we could talk about that more, later on. Because if you didn't know, Microsoft, Mac OS, they basically tracking everything you do on those operating systems. And I get it; it's what's widely available. You know what I'm saying? And people purchase them every day. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's kind of hard to get people off of something. And I'm not trying to get people off of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of hard to get people off of something that they is readily available for them, you know, um, as the main operating systems to use. But anyway, I've been around the manosphere for a number of years. I started off by I ran into O'Shea, O'Shea Duke Jackson back in the day. Actually, I found O'Shea through Phil Advise.
Okay,
Uh, yeah, back in the day when he was doing his videos in his room or whatever.
yeah, that shower curtain in the background.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
remember.
Yeah, and so I found O'Shea, and then I saw, he was creating or they were creating an organization because they always recognized the big three. You know what I'm saying? They all came up with this idea to create what they call a Black Manosphere, and so I just been around since kind of its inception. I didn't have a channel at the time, but I was just around because I looked at it as uh, a brotherhood, you know what I'm saying? Or some place where brothers could come around and talk, from different walks of life, different things, different jobs that they're in, just different things that they're doing in their life. And I was, intrigued. That was something that attracted me to the Black Manosphere because you don't see nothing like that out there. I mean, uh, I grew up in the church, so uh, I was part of the male chorus, so I understand the importance of men coming together and putting something together. And because I played drums for a male chorus, so that was,
You didn't tell us
and
that, Super Techie.
yeah,
You know you play drums.
yeah. I play drums, man. It's been a while, but I did play drums for the church. I also played in the band, and I can get into that a little little more later on. But I
Okay.
played
You
high
got me
school
call you Super
band and
Techie
all that
too,
stuff.
man. Sorry about that. Keep it techie. I've always want to call you Super Techie. I don't know why, man.
It's all good.
So let me get into the questions here. And for those
Okay.
that are here, please hit the like button, share it if you must, um, and subscribe if you're new here. And subscribe to Keep It Techie's channel. That's right there in the chat. Shout out to Prophet of Thought series.
Yeah,
That's
shout out to you.
that's my big brother, um, and my YouTube mentor, by the way. I pattern a lot of stuff after him, so I learned the ropes under him. Um, so you pretty much gave us a description of your channel, or
Yeah.
and then pretty much the use of the Black Manosphere. You know what
Hmm.
brought you here. So
Yeah.
the question would be, what does it take to get to your status in this profession?
Okay. So
Give
um
it, give us the disco version. It doesn't have to be the full album because I know people are like, it's like church,
yeah. Yeah. Well, the simplest way to put it, just hard work and dedication. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that because I've put in a lot of time, to better myself in this career, in this profession. Schooling, also training outside of work and all that stuff. It in the IT field, it's all about never getting left behind. Otherwise, you're gonna get stagnant and you're not gonna be able to move up. You know what I'm saying? If you get into this field thinking, oh, I'm gonna just get a job and make a couple of dollars here and there, you know what I'm saying? You'll easily get left behind and also pushed out. Because the tech changes so fast, so rapidly that if you're not learning the new tools that are coming out or the new technologies that are coming out, then you'll easily get left behind because it ain't just learning one thing and then you done. You gotta constantly learn, and that's one of the reasons I started my channel is so I could keep up with technologies. I didn't know what the Linux operating system was until 2007. I ran across it with in a company that I worked for. They had a Linux operating system running, majority of the systems on the network, like as far as the network, the router, they were using a Linux server. They had a whole bunch of Linux servers just doing different tasks, web servers, all that stuff. um
Before you go on,
so I learned. Oh,
before you go on, because some of us are not really tech savvy, and
uh-huh.
that's why we need you. One of the reasons why we need you. Could you break down what is a Linux server for those people who don't have a clue that's kind of been
Hmm.
under the cyber rock?
Oh yeah, I got you. So a Linux is basically a kernel. Well, let me not take it too deep. Linux is basically an operating system. I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. It's basically just another operating system besides Windows and Mac OS. And you can run Linux as a server the way it is. Or you can run it as a desktop environment, kind of like Windows. You got Windows 10. You can run it just like that. It has a desktop environment, with browsers installed, your webmail, all that stuff you can do on Windows OS or Mac OS, you could do within a Linux desktop environment. Now, Linux servers is just basically a scaled down version of that. It just has the essential tools that you need to run a server. And pretty much servers, majority of the servers around the world that serve out websites use Linux. That's typically what's used because it's a little bit more secure, and it's just an overall better operating system for handling server tasks. So whenever you go to www.com, I mean www dot whatever, google.com or whatever, a lot of times it's a Linux server that's serving you that website. So that's the way a web server actually works, and a server in general. And then you can do multiple tasks with a server. So if you've ever worked in an organization where there was like a shared drive that multiple people use throughout the network to share documents back and forth between, let's say, finance and the billing team or whatever. Um, well, that's part of finance, but I'm just saying different organizations can share documents. A lot of times it's a Linux server running back there that's housing all this data and sharing it out with throughout the organization. And yeah, Windows has that feature as well. They have share drives and all that stuff as well, but a lot of times Linux is involved in that area as well. So
Okay. Well, thank you. So continue on as far as you were giving us a little bit of backdrop on, how to get to your status when you're talking about hard work,
mhm,
dedication, time,
yeah,
things of that nature. So we're,
yeah,
so we are a, right now we are a regular keep it techie, and we got the bare minimum. We got the job, right? We're making okay money, right? So now we want to get to the keep it techie that's here now.
yeah. And that's why I brought up hard work, dedication, because you 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 can't stay stagnant. You always got to learn. There's new certifications coming out that are available in order for you to progress. Because, like I said, new technology is constantly coming out. Like a couple years back, people, looked at the cloud as kind of like that's not nothing that'll ever be used, what I'm saying, in the real world, but it's actually being used. The cloud is there. Is AWS changed that, what I'm saying, as well as all these other cloud providers. They basically caught up with AWS because AWS kind of started it off or kicked it off. And so the cloud, that's considered new technology. It's using old technology, but it's also new technology because it's it's offering a way for businesses to um, manage their infrastructure a whole lot better by putting it in the cloud and make it available, widely available, especially for organizations that are global. So information is available globally using the cloud versus setting up a whole bunch of local hardware. You only have to worry about access to the actual cloud. So that's essentially how it works. But I'm just saying that the there's constantly new technology coming out, like automation.
Hmm.
A bunch of different things are coming out, and you just need to stay on top of it in order to continue to progress. If I would have just stopped where I was at when I started off as a network administrator, my pay wouldn't have went up because if you look at kind of like the pay scales of a network administrator, yeah, it's up a little bit up, but it wouldn't be where I am now because I leveraged all the new technology that's out there, and that also helps you get um, more money when you go for interviews and stuff.
Hmm.
If you have that extra training that's not required, it's something that you went out there on a limb and actually got yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. So let me ask you this, because you mentioned salary. So what is
Mhm.
the salary range of your profession? Well, are you able to go into that, or?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I can talk about, well, uh and then there's jokes around about everybody makes 100,000 a year and all that stuff on YouTube. But uh, I actually do, and I have been for a number of years. At
You
some
mean
point,
you are a high value man?
I don't consider myself that,
What?
but
Okay, go ahead, Phil.
I don't consider myself that, man. But I mean, I guess if you want to put me in that category, I guess you know what I'm
Hey, take
saying.
it, man. It's get your flowers.
I I don't know. I look at, and that's the thing. It goes back to some things I've said on your panel. I mean, I'm just a regular guy. That's all I ever looked at myself as. I remember my pops was making 100. Well, I don't want to talk about, but he was a 6 figure earner. But my grandfather, I mean, my dad grew up on a farm. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? He don't. Well, I don't want to go down that road, but he ain't wear no suits other than to go to church. But you know what I'm saying? Just a
Right.
regular black guy. And it's opportunities out here that can get you to that level financially, no matter, you know, what you do. So as far
Hmm.
as so essentially, yeah, I've worked in positions where I made, a quarter million a year, and this was in Afghanistan, but this was during the height of the Afghanistan war. I was working as a contractor, and there's pays associated with that made the pay go up that high. You know what I'm saying? As far as the way they pay you, because of the danger and all that stuff, and it was kind of hard to find pay like that in the States at the time, so you did have to go overseas for that. But I have been in situations doing IT stuff where I have made like a quarter million dollars a year, doing tech related job. Well, not tech related, actual tech jobs. So
Um,
hold on, am I breaking up?
y'all hear me?
Oh, I hear you now. It look like
Okay. I think it's the daylight savings time or something's going on because my computer is like it's on. It's probably on some yesterday's time. I don't know, but yeah, well, I got you. We heard you.
mm-hmm.
And let me see. She says, "Keep it techie, and men like him are his humble, grounded brothers who don't allow their salaries to define him. Kudos, brother." All right. And then appreciate Tone Malone for the super chat. Damn, do I have my sound? If I sure do, let me hook you up. I'm Rick James. All right. Don't forget the man. We need. Can somebody put Keep It Techie's cash app in the chat as
Nah,
well?
nah, don't worry about that. What?
You know, because I
Nah,
mean,
they
you
need
can
to
you
give
can
it to
have
you, man.
you can have a half a million and $5 after today. It's all good. We got Monique in here. All right, so we're gonna go on in here. Gabe, what's going on, Gabe?
What's up,
Look
Gabe?
at him. Let's see if he's gonna say something positive today. But anyhow, let's go on to the next question, brother.
All right.
Please again hit the like button and share, subscribe, all those good stuff. Now, are there any tech programs or academies? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you able to give like a quick demo or something of what you do? Like a
Yeah, I actually went on prepared a little bit, and I ain't really have to prepare, but I just put something together a little bit, just to show, kind of what I do, because I can't show you exactly what I do because I don't have a Windows server set up, similar to what I do, but I can show you on the Linux side, basically a database, because I'm a database admin. First, let me explain what I do. I'm a database administrator, and essentially what that is you basically manage database management systems, and a database is simply, or a database management system is simply an application that manages data, just like the name. And I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but that's essentially what it is, to break it down on the simple terms. It's just a way to organize and manage data. So to, I guess, put it in layman's terms or simpler terms, if you've ever used a Excel spreadsheet, that's essentially a table within a database. So an Excel spreadsheet, you got your rows and you got your columns and all that good stuff. Um, and you have all your data, organized in that way. Well, a database is just essentially multiple tables put together in order to make a database. And you can use that data to make business decisions or whatever your organization needs that data for.
Okay.
And
And shout out to Necessary Evil here, and we got Super Sly. Haven't seen you
shout
here
out.
before at all, Super Sly. So you bringing everybody over here. Okay. But yeah, man. So hopefully, I was hoping for some visuals because some people, you know how it is when we're talking about things, they cannot visualize what you're talking about. So they need some kind of. But maybe later on, if you have something, you can do a screen share or something and
Okay.
that kind because that's that's one thing that I lack too when I do these live streams. The only thing I can do is talk about something and draw. But every
Hmm.
now and then, it'd be good for me to show some data, or whatever. Um, I only do that when I'm doing a real job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is a job too, but
Hmm.
for the most part, it's verbal and entertainment or whatever, and
Yeah.
informative as well. Um, but let's go into the next question though. So we got here now. What are any tech programs or academies for the youth you would recommend? Is there anything that you can recommend for those people that have children that might want to follow your footsteps?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. I have to kind of explain what IT is, because IT comprised of a whole bunch of things, you know what I'm saying? And it's a whole bunch of areas that you can actually get into. A lot of times when people come on these panels, they talk about, oh, you need to get into programming, you need to get into programming. Well, that's just one aspect of IT. You know, um, there is systems administrators, network administrators, cybersecurity um, guys, cybersecurity guys, similar to Gabe Bay. Uh, he's a shout out to him. I want to shout him out as
Yeah, he's
well.
big time. I
Yeah,
don't know why he be
cybersecurity.
poking at people, but he big time though.
Yeah, yeah. But man, it's just so many different areas, cloud architectures, cloud people in, working in cloud, all those different areas of IT. There's even fintech, people get into financial, technical jobs. That's falls under IT. So it's all these different, areas that you want to get into. It's good to understand programming, and it covers, but programming is kind of like a foundation, in my opinion, to help you with all those areas of IT. So that's some people say, just constantly recommend, get into programming, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, the stuff you can learn, and the stuff that will help you get into this field very successful. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's a bad thing to learn programming, but you know what I'm saying? That's just one thing out of thousands of different things you can actually learn to help you get into it. And I think a lot of people say that more because, I mean, you don't really need to, you don't really, and that's the thing with IT, you really don't need a lot of college. You know what I'm saying? You can
Hmm.
have, so it's beneficial to have college. You know what I'm saying? That'll help you more in management. But when it comes to actually getting into it, a lot of training you can get from YouTube, and that's why I kind of want to start with the youth. That's why I'm here on YouTube, is to try to inspire younger people to get into tech. You know what I'm saying? And so YouTube is a great resource for people that want to get into tech, and you need to understand that it's a whole bunch of areas, but programming is something you can learn, but there are a whole bunch of things out there for the youth when it comes to programming. Um, I could share some links if you want me to, but
Sure. Sure.
I got, let me drop some of this stuff in the chat. But there's an MIT site called Scratch. That's for kids. I started getting my kids on it. You know what I'm saying? That's a great resource to help kids get into programming and tech in general, as well as brilliant.org. That's something I'll put that in the chat as well. That's something where people can actually send their kids, and I believe this is um, brilliant.org. I believe that's one of the places K-12 is using as well,
Okay.
in education, the online education programs and stuff. So they use that. I know that has a lot of videos on, basic understand computer science fundamentals, so to speak. And so if you want to get into it, the resources are out there. It's all out there. You just gotta look for it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, a quick Google search can help you put your kids on the right path. All you got to do is type in, you know, uh, uh, kid programs for IT, or kid programs for programming, or kid programming. Just search in the Google and you'll find a whole bunch of resources out there that are available for anybody.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now we notice, I mean, for some reason, most of the time when we're talking about the tech industry, there's usually the white dude with the glasses looking like Bill Gates, and the dude from Revenge of the Nerds. It's hard to really picture black people in the tech industry, even though we have plenty representing that, especially in this space. My question is, what are black people missing out on in this industry? What are we missing out on? Why are we not looking in this direction and looking at football and rap music? Why come we're not looking in this direction as much as we should?
I think it I think it has more to do with awareness. And I've said this multiple times on different panels that awareness is, it seems like, the biggest thing. And I think I said this on your channel once, that I remember hearing growing up, you know what I'm saying? Because I grew up in Louisiana. I remember hearing, that, oh, that's, white people work. You know what I'm saying? Or that's something
Right.
white people do. You know what I'm saying? And so it's 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 I think it's the awareness. And so that's why I do what I can to put out as many other black people in the tech field, and just put them out there in front of other people, that look like me, to show that we are actually in this field, and it's possible for you to actually get into it as well. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I had that mindset, like, oh, I can't do that. That's too hard. Or you gotta. I mean, I've heard people say, you got to be a mathematician to get in. Nah, man, you don't need all that no more. It's it's open to anybody. It's just the awareness is not there. Now I see a lot of it being pushed on other areas outside of YouTube. And it's pushed black people in general, black men. And I know that's a question later on, but I'm um that is areas where it is being pushed, like Twitter, and different areas that I've seen black people really pushing the awareness of getting into the tech field. You know what I'm saying? Not so much on YouTube.
Okay.
And
Now,
I think it's the representation of the amount of people that we have on YouTube as well. And that's why what prompted me to start my channel as well. Like, I'm I'm sure if you search Linux, I am the only black guy that will come up. The only one on YouTube
damn.
that talks about the Linux operating system.
Wow. That's deep. Yeah, because I'm thank God you don't only keep it techie on the YouTube because nobody else. I was like, I put keep it techie up and you popped up, so I'm like, cool, all right. Because a lot of people are choosing names that everybody else have, and I'm like, damn,
Mhm.
but yours came up, so yeah, that counts for a lot. For those people that are coming in, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe if you can. I know I'm not your favorite, but at least support the cause. Um, Now, the other question here is, now you came on the panel a few times, you and Gabe, trying to, break down some of the infrastructure when it came to discrimination and racism. So,
Mhm.
if there is racism in your profession, how do you counter or function behind it?
Um, all right, the way I counter it, because I mean, there is some form of racism. You know what I'm saying? It's not in your face. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But I mean, you could tell by the way people look, you know
The
what I'm saying?
jokes.
Like you don't even, yeah, the jokes, you don't
Yeah.
look like you know, people look at you like, you actually in tech, you know what I'm saying?
How they do
You know what
me,
I'm
man.
saying? Yeah.
In my, Cal Arts, that Cal Arts is like a hard to get in art college. And they see my hair in dark. They look and say, "You went to Cal Arts?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what are you trying to say? But go ahead, brother.
hmm Yeah. So I mean it's not as prevalent in your face, but I mean you see the stares, you see the looks, and the way I counter it, so to speak, is to be the best I could be. Try to
Hmm.
stand out. I mean, because it's there is a disparity in tech, as far as our numbers being very low. And the way to counter anything like that is to uh push to be the best you could be. And that's why I spend a lot of time, learning things um outside of my actual job. Like for instance, I've explained it. I'm a database administrator. I'm not finna just sit there and just look at database administrator type stuff because it's only so much to learn in it. I diversify and start looking into cloud technologies or cloud databases that are out there, like MongoDB. Um, there's a bunch of different database management systems that are coming out now that use NoSQL, which I ain't want to go too deep into the technical terms, but it's a different type of database management system that I've started looking into, as well as like just other technologies that are readily available, and the information is out there online in order for you to learn it. You just gotta put in the time and actually learn it. So,
Okay. So this is one of our think big moments here. And if I'm able to get like you, Gabe, uh, I guess some people from the Black Brain Trust, all these tech brothers in here on this panel, I think I'm asking the same question.
mhm.
Is there a possibility of creating a black owned Microsoft or Apple company? If so, how can you build that up? Where would you start?
um, now based on my knowledge of Microsoft and Apple, I don't think it. I don't know if you can create a micro. Well, you probably can, but it'll be very difficult to create like a juggernaut like Microsoft or Apple. It's possible. Don't get me wrong, it's possible, but I think it's kind of unlikely, to be honest. But as far as creating a tech hub or a tech um, organization that could some point in the future compete, with a different business model and all that, is definitely possible. It's the technology is out there, and it's readily available for anybody to get into it. You just gotta uh, come up with an idea and build it. I mean, it, also if you look at like, I mean, Facebook wasn't around when Microsoft and Apple first started. Instagram wasn't around. All these different social media platforms weren't around in the old days of Microsoft, Apple and all that stuff. So that all came later on, using the technology. And the reason I said it'll be hard for Microsoft, Apple, and let's say Google to create something like that is because a lot of those are kind of like backbones, so to speak. They almost cemented into what they actually do. You
So
know
are
what I'm
you saying
saying?
it's like McDonald's versus Ernie's Rib Shack?
Yeah, yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Because Microsoft at the end of the day, they they are heavily used in government, in state. You know what I'm saying? As far as the operating systems that are used, Apple as well. They have a share of that as well. They're used a lot of times in digital stuff, like kind of like what AM1 does. So
Shout out to
they
AM1. I thought I saw his name. Shout out Leo
yeah,
brother in the house. and Asada too. Go ahead, fam.
Yeah. And so um the I kind of forgot where I was
I'm
going with it.
sorry, fam.
Nah, it's all
It's,
good. It's all good. Nah, they kind of that's what I was gonna say. They kind of they kind of cemented in what they do. You know what I'm saying? So I think that um you can create something. It's just not gonna be on that level. That makes sense.
okay. And those people that are coming in, and we hit the 2021 view mark, so we're doing something on this Sunday. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, or what have you. Thank you guys for coming. Um, we got Keep It Techie in the building, so we're trying to get in the mind. Man, that's a lot of work, but we're trying to get in the mind of brother Keep It Techie here. Because he has a lot. I mean, a lot to share with us. He has a channel. Is right there. The name is called Keep It Techie. The name is in the. The channel is in the chat. So please subscribe to Brother Keep It Techie. Um, so we're gonna come in with some other stuff here. Brother Mel, welcome, brother. Um, so we went about this too, and I'm kind of curious as far as the archetypes. Um, as far because there's again we're going back into that stereotype again of that whole glasses and pocket protector and the even afro, and you kind of look hip hop to us, so it's like, is there a archetype of a brother in tech, because or is there more of a or is there more of a diversity in this profession as far as brothers?
I see it more as a diversity. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays, a lot of jobs, a lot of tech jobs are they going remote. At the end of the day. So, like for instance, I work remote, so I could essentially wear what I want to wear. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I have been in situations where I've been in the office and I had to wear, a button-up shirt or something, maybe a tie. I rarely wore ties, but maybe a tie. But I mean, as far as like a standardized, I guess, architecture of uh, brothers, I mean, everybody has their own, you know, mindset. It's more diverse, so to speak. Because I remember back in the day, a lot of people in tech. I would see a lot of people in tech with like even like white guys. They got the gothic look, and all black and
Yeah.
stuff. With you know what I'm saying. So it's diverse. You know what I'm saying. You can kind of a lot of these big tech companies they allow you to kind of express yourself at the end of the day. Not that it's you coming in there looking crazy, 100% crazy, but you know what I'm saying, you could dress up when you need to, you know what I'm saying, or when you're supposed to. And it's all based on the company that you're working for. If they have a different culture, you know, then I mean, at the end of the day, you got to follow, what they put in line as far as the dress code. But a lot of times, I mean, it is what it is. You can wear whatever you want to wear, you know. And I've always had that opportunity to do that. And I know that's anecdotal, that's just tied to me, but I've seen a lot of people that do that as well. They wear the retro t-shirts, with all the, Mario Brothers on it and all that stuff. And, kind of whatever, however they want to dress,
Right.
as long as it's presentable.
Now I remember. Let me see. My college years. That's you mentioned goth, because most of the time, I don't know. I go all the way back to the Amiga computer for
Hmm.
animation. That's what we were using to transfer our handwork to the computer. So that was Amigas, and at that time, it was all that bad. We talking about 89, 90, right?
Hmm.
And a lot the archetype for those type of people, sometimes they were males with long hair, the thumb
Yeah.
ring, the sandals, even, and sometimes every now and then black fingernail polish.
Yep.
You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
And the big
Uh,
old earrings in they and
Yeah,
everything that
man.
stretched it out. Yeah, I see
I'm
that
like,
too.
okay, and then later on, you had, I'm in San Jose every now and then, and just going to Target, everybody looked like the Fisher Price man. If
Hmm.
anybody know the little square type person with the glass, like Drew Carey. And I'm
Yeah.
like, shit, everybody in Target? It was weird. It was so weird. Um, but we haven't really truly defined the look of a black tech, you know,
Hmm.
because I think every now and then, I don't know, maybe that's our blessing to have that uniqueness about us, where even though we can remain who we are, we can still go in any sector. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and that's another thing I was gonna say. I think we're influenced by, the like commercials, and you remember back in the 90s when Apple was heavily competing with Microsoft, and
Yes,
they had those two guys. One was dressed with the glasses, and the other one was kind of like a
regular
what would
guy.
you call it, hippie type of guy or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit.
Right.
um so I mean, that influences as well. And then you remember when uh Best Buy came out with Geek Squad, they
Yes, sir.
required them at a certain point to wear, the geeky glasses with the pants that flood, kind of like Steve Urkel
Yeah.
used to back in the day.
Khaki
You know what
colors.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, but that's not the typical tech guy, so to speak. That's just a kind of a stereotype that's put onto people that work into that area. And maybe it came from, the movies as well. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, the Revenge of the Nerds and Pocket Protector and the whole Urkel thing. But I mean, there is no set way of a person. You can't just look at somebody and say, oh, this person works in tech. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I mean, it's no set archetype of knowing if someone works in the tech field or not. You know what I'm saying? It's a diversity of people from different backgrounds and different, ways that they dress and all that good stuff.
So you mentioned that as far as because that's what I was kind of tapping. That's what I was trying to tap into, even though Gabe was trying to be contrarian. I'm looking at you, Gabe. I'm side eyeing you, fam. Anyhow, um, the stuff these different archetypes that we're getting are from movies, right? Commercials,
Hmm.
and but it's like, and it's weird is because some people look at that either to put someone in that cat, like what do you call them, coin them in that category, or even be
Hmm.
inspired to be like that, right? So my
Yeah.
question is, when you have things in these movies and advertisements, would you say that it kind of makes it hard to be in this position because people expect a certain what do you call it, persona about you in your profession?
Yeah. Well, I think it does more of a discouraging factor. It's not the cool thing to do, to be the nerdy guy that works on computers based on the images that are put in front of us. It's not the cool thing to actually do. So I do the best I can to counter that narrative by, and not that I'm putting on hip hop gear and stuff like that just to create some persona about myself online. This is exactly how I am. This is exactly who I am. I got gold teeth in my mouth. I grew up from Louisiana. This is exactly who I am. And so I put myself out there to try to show people that it's not just wearing some nerd glasses or having that image that's put out there in order for you to get into this field and be successful. If that answers your question, hopefully that answers your
Yeah,
question. Okay.
yes, for sure. Yeah, because that's, I mean, that goes somewhat. It has a little bit of the remnants of that educated lame thing, where a lot of people that are educated get all the girls. So I'm like, I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But we're moving on into this one here now. Um, and this is a very important one here, and I hope people are really listening. And please share, because this probably gonna be the most important part. especially doing with this manosphere talk.
Hmm.
Are there any networks for black men in the tech industry?
Now, some other guys may know other ones. I don't really know many, you know, networks that are specifically for men, black men. You know what I'm saying? But there are organizations out there or networks out there for black people. Now it's all on who takes advantage of it. They put out great information. You know what I'm saying? It's there for you as a black man,
Hmm.
but it's not directly pushed to you. For instance, there's an organization that I'm involved with called Blacks in Technology. They're online all over the place. You'll see them on Instagram, you'll see them on Twitter, you'll see them on Facebook. But Blacks in Technology is there, but it's not specifically for black men. But the information is there. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, regardless if it says black man on it, it's there. So as a black man, it's up to you to take advantage of it because the information is being put out there. So I mean, and not that I kind of wish they did have something specifically for black men, but it hasn't been created or I haven't found it. And maybe someone else knows about it, but I haven't found it. And I remember searching a while back just because I was like, when I first joined this whole manosphere thing, I was like, man, is there an organization specifically out here for black men, kind of like black women with the, Black Girls Code and um, the Black Girls Magic and all that stuff. And yeah, it's true. I haven't seen anything. I haven't found anything that is directed at black men. But there's no excuse because the information is out there. That's the way I look at it. And so maybe it'll be an opportunity for someone to actually create it. I don't have the time to create some organization specifically for black men to get into tech or a network to get black men in the tech. I mean, and essentially that's what I'm doing anyway. It's just open to anybody that wants to get into it. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. The information is out there. You just gotta maybe if we get more black men into tech, then that organization can come about because we'll have more people working in the field to actually add to the organization to put the information out there to more people at the end of
Hmm.
the day. But it's out there. You just gotta go. You just gotta look for it. It's not directed at just black men. Oh, and another one, Blacks in Cyber. That's out there. And then also Twitter. Twitter is a big resource, to help for people to get into tech. And I brought this up earlier, but there is a hashtag called Black Tech Twitter. You will find so many people in tech just by looking black people in tech just by searching Black Tech Twitter. And that's and I hate to give away my secrets on how I find people for my channel to interview, but it is what it is. I mean, I want the information out there, so it don't seem like people capitalizing on it anyway. But because I didn't said it before, but it's plenty of black men on Twitter under hashtag Black Tech Twitter that can mentor you. They putting out great information over there, pointing you to the right direction you need to go in order to get into the field. It's all there. You just gotta look for it. And that's the frustrating part about it. I mean, it's there for you.
Now, what I'm noticing, because I'm just hearing what you just said, I think we're in a generation where we're looking at a word and clicking on it
Hmm.
instead of searching and doing research. I don't think this is a research generation anymore. It's more point and click.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's where you guys would probably solve the $1 million riddle on how they would get the information. Because I had this conversation with Leo Sullivan because he has all this stuff about black children, but a lot of people not going as far as at the first button. They just click on the button, got all this stuff they got to look up, and they just walk away.
Hmm.
So the thing is, or probably the best thing to do is to really, like I think a lot of us are doing surveys now,
Hmm.
is give a survey on what do you value the most about tech and then based on the what do you call it, the percentages, then you can start hitting those clicks or what have you, so they go straight to it, and maybe that might be a way for them to go straight for what they're looking for rather than you're hoping that they do enough research to find it. That might be. I'm not sure if that's a good suggestion, but I think
Mm,
that might be the way to go for these young folks because I'm going through that myself in teaching. You know, and the thing is, I know where you're coming from. We got a lot of resources, but people not going to them.
yeah,
Video tutorials, step by step graphics, everything. They're not going to them.
yeah.
So if we can find a way to just get them directly to what they're looking for,
Hmm.
I think problem solved. Now
Yeah.
you talked about um, because I was going to ask this question again, but I think you answered it. And this question was, if you were to build a black male tech juggernaut in the industry, what would the hardware be? What would his hardware be? I mean, does that still apply to the question before, or would you have another answer for this?
Um.
If he had hardware, what would his hardware be if he was considered a black juggernaut in the tech industry?
Mm,
Would he have an
trying to think of.
entourage? Would he have a gun? Would he would he be like Suge Knight, with microchips in his pocket? You know,
I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know what to,
it's a lot,
I
ain't
don't
it?
know, answer. Yeah, yeah. It's just, I don't know.
We
It
didn't get
kind of,
there yet. We still not in that ballpark yet. We still need some time.
yeah. I don't think so at this moment. Um, I don't know, man.
I would love to see a black Bill Gates, fam. I ain't
Yeah,
lying, dude. Like
yeah.
with the little microphone on his ear doing the TED talks, and
Hmm.
people like,
I
man,
mean,
I'm
that,
looking for that. Really,
yeah. See, the opportunity is out there, and that's another reason I push open source. Open source allows for people to um, get involved with projects that are out there and even use projects that are out there in order to build upon them to create something, you know, uh, big if they want to. Um, and what I mean by open source, I always talk about GitHub, people going on GitHub. There are projects being worked on out there that can be used, and open source allows people to actually reuse code. You know what I'm saying? To create other products. You know what I'm saying? It's the freedom to actually use that code for something else and repurpose it to actually build something else. And that's what I mean by the opportunities out there. You just got to look for it. And I believe that something can be created by using open source technologies and open source applications that are out there to and that could be leveraged to actually create something in the future. You can create another Facebook, so to speak. You can create another there or open source applications out there. Yeah, it's not being used, but as much. But there is another Facebook out there that's actually being used called uh, dang, I done lost it. I just had it in my head. Mastodon. Mastodon is basically a Facebook equivalent, but it's open source, and it's also uh, uh, a project that allows for more privacy, so to speak. You don't have to give up a whole bunch of information and create a Mastodon account. There's also another YouTube out there, pretty much same platform, but it uses open source technology, specifically blockchain. Um, it actually uses the same blockchain that Bitcoin uses, but you can share your videos over there. It's the equivalent of YouTube. And the way they operate, they give you coin based on, or people can donate to you via a cryptocurrency, which they call credits. So it's a lot of opportunity out there. You just gotta learn the technology and be able to leverage that technology to create something. Because yeah, I mean that's essentially the way I see it. In order for someone, because and it's another black guy I meant to bring this up too. Um, it's a black guy. He created and I gotta find it, but he created an application. He leveraging open source technology. He created it's basically an application. I'm gonna use his application for what I'm trying to do. But it allows you to create containers on the fly for different people. You can create a website and people can spin up containers on that website in order. And I know that's tech related, that's heavy tech, but let's say someone is teaching a course and you need to be able to allow them to use an operating system. You can spin this up on the fly on this website, and it's an instantaneous full desktop environment that someone can actually go in and do whatever you know whatever the course is telling you to do, and then close it out. After that, it's kind of like in a lot of those training courses they do have um, ways for people to go in and complete certain tasks so they can get a better understanding of something.
Okay. So
You know.
here's one here that's probably not popular, but I think it's necessary for sure. And because you mentioned that you were a family man. Damn, that's a bad word, ain't it?
Very bad.
Oh, I just had to remember people looking at me funny when I take my wife to breakfast. They're like, "Oh shit, him." But anyhow, I, but I did the S bomb. Sorry, y'all. Bleep it out. Anyhow, how do you manage being a family man while being in tech? Is there a conflict in time management, in this profession, especially when you're really dedicated to it?
Yeah, it's tough, man. You just gotta and, and all right, and see that's the thing. I've had a family um since I started in this career. Even before I started in this career, I was married, had my first son while I was in school. And I apologize, but I was what helped me was I leveraged the military. And this is one of those things that's why I speak highly on the military, because it helped me out of bad situations, throughout my life. And not saying I would have 100% failed if I didn't have the military, but it was a benefit, so to speak. So as far as family goes, uh, that was a lot of help when it came to that. I leveraged that to help with the family as well as go to school. That paid for my school. You know what I'm saying? The military actually helped me pay for my first associate's degree, which was in network administration, so to speak. It was networking, computer networking. I went to a small school called Remington College, and I got a computer networking associate's degree from there. Um, and I was married, when I finished that. I was married, and I even moved to a different state. But the military actually, was kind of like that backbone that kind of helped me. I was always in the military in the Army Reserves that helped me, you know, throughout my career. As far as I even had more school and money to go to school and get a bachelor's and another associate's degree. I got another associate's degree and another bachelor's. Um, because of the military. So speak highly of the military. So that has helped me. But as far as time management, I mean, it's just something I've always been pretty good at. I've always understood, or I always had to make time for my family, and I always do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to cut off social media, you got to cut off all this. And that's why I always go around saying that this YouTube channel is a hobby, because it actually is. My real life is not YouTube. My real life is, when I turn it off, kind of like what Brother Teapot says. When I turn this computer off, when I shut this computer off, I'm back to reality. I'm back to real life. You know what I'm saying? And so um as far as YouTube goes. But outside of that, work though is just one of those things you have to, leverage your time with, because you have to spend time, studying and keeping up with all these new technologies that are coming out. You know what I'm saying? You can't just let it go. Otherwise, you get left behind. Like I said earlier in this conversation, you get left behind if you don't keep up with what's going on. It's constantly like one of my jobs, they paid for a Python class because that was coming down the pipe as something new that they were using you know, within my job. And so they wanted us to take a Python class. So we took the Python class, took the time out for that. Um, you just gotta leverage your time, man. And um, um, certain things you can't do, but you got to make time for it, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, and have that work life balance. And a lot of companies nowadays are heavily focusing on understanding that people need to have a work life balance. They need to have somewhat of a balance when it comes to what they do on a day-to-day basis. Otherwise you get burnt out, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So you just got to leverage that time. That's really the only. I said a lot, but that's essentially what I'm saying.
Well,
You
I
just
hope
gotta
people
leverage
follow in
your
these footsteps or taking notes. Now,
time.
do we have a time limit in the opportunity gap when it comes to tech? Is there a time limit where, okay, there's a, because I hear you, I definitely hear Gabe, and I definitely hear Black Brain Trust and all these other people talk about opportunities in tech, especially for brothers. Is there a time limit at to where eventually the window will close as far as opportunities?
Um, I think at a certain point, yeah, it'll be very difficult to get in at a certain point, especially once automation starts taking over for a lot of things. Yeah, there's opportunity for you to get in and repair some of the, let's say, robots or whatever is running a warehouse. There is opportunities. It's gonna be hard to get in because a lot of these tech jobs, they're following DevOps practices, as well as um, scaling down. It's like the scale agile framework where they scale down the amount of people actually working on something, but still pushing out the product that's needed. It could be application development or whatever. They basically scaling down the amount of people needed to do the work and push it out in an efficient time. So that is a reality that is coming. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually already here. A lot of companies are incorporating that type of DevOps philosophy within their organizations. How can we accomplish this task with the least amount of people and complete it in the time frame that we need it in? That's essentially what is saying, what that process is. So that's why you got to be on top of learning. You got to be on top of staying on top of this technology and leveraging your work history with what you're currently learning to put you in a better position so you don't get left behind. But as far as getting into it, um, there's still a lot of opportunity for a lot of people to get into it, but you just got to get into it now. You know what I'm saying? And and it's gonna be around for years. I'm not saying it's coming, not trying to scare people and say it's coming in, 10 years or so, where it's going to be very difficult to get into it. Because I don't know the future. Based on the trends, it looks like that could be a possibility. But at the same time, I think it's still going to be a lot of opportunity for people to actually get into it, because I'm counting on it. And maybe I'm a little biased because I got my kids and I want to get them into it. I want to get them into tech. And so I'm teaching them what I know now and trying to push what I can to them now so they'll be in a better situation, and that's something that a lot of parents, black parents, you need to start pushing your kids into tech, pushing them into these different areas that you can get into, programming, all that good stuff. Um, because that's going to be the future. It's going to be incorporated into everything. We see it now. The financial system. I think we talked about, or we might have talked about that earlier, but I said fintech, financial systems. That's being automated, and they're using tech in that as well. And they need people to actually build the systems that monitor, a lot of this stuff, or at least maintain it, because they have some of it in place now, but it still needs to be improved upon. So we're gonna need programmers out there to continue working on this stuff.
Okay. Now I noticed in this space, and welcome Jay Shine, another Leo brother here. Um,
Jay Shine, what's up, bro?
if you notice, even when we have our own channels, most of us come from a consumer standpoint. If I notice, it's hard to have this ownership conversation with some people, you know. So sometimes you got to go with that Samuel Jackson post I put in my community tab. You just got to let it fly and let 2 + 2 = 5, and just let them carry the one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know that's probably why we have this turnout. Is because I think some people are looking at it as a consumer versus a person that can get into it, right? So we're speaking like
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. We're speaking a different language,
Hmm.
but I want to give you the opportunity to appeal to the consumer ear when it comes to energy conservation. Um, and you already know that once we get into energy conservation, uh, we save a lot of money. Sometimes
Hmm.
we can make money from that, right?
Yeah.
Um, even security, tech and security, like alarms and stuff like that. What's the best tech alarms to keep your home safe, or your car, or even your computer? People from going in your computer and stealing your identity, right? How about
Hmm.
tech? When it comes to tech and finances, shout out to Alonzo. He likes that. He likes that conversation. But um, I'm going into that at tech and education and tech and communication. How are you able to appeal to the consumer in those categories, or is it? I mean, is it a very hard process, or are we still studying this?
Um, Basically to leverage the consumer ear, or try to speak to that to get them interested into tech. That's what you're
Hmm.
saying, or
Hmm.
okay,
Right, right.
yeah. Yeah, and that's 100% true. I mean, it's a lot of people, they say tech. It's a lot of channels out here that say tech, tech, and essentially what they're talking about is consumer electronics. At the end of the day, it's a difference between you know technology, or information technology, or technology, and the buzzword tech. That's essentially consumer electronics. 20 years ago, or the tech was a radio that you can get from Radio Shack.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I miss Radio Shack, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to love Radio Shack. That was
Uh,
one of my favorite places to go, man. But um yeah, so um and I kind of forgot where I was going with that, but nah, I mean, it's a big difference between consumer electronics and tech, because if you look at it, I mean, the the con- it's basically the consumer electronics. You basically using the technology to create all this stuff that you guys are spending money on. Like, for
mhm.
instance, it's open source technology running behind the Nest system. And some people, and when you brought up energy conservation, that's one of the first things that popped up in my head was the Nest system. It's a basically a thermostat. You could put on your wall, and it's connected to Wi-Fi, and it can monitor and control your temperature in your house and save energy. That is a way of actually saving on your electric bill, saving on your gas bill, because in the winter time, most of those AC units, don't they have gas going to them, and it's with a pilot light and all that stuff, to heat up the house. You saving on that. You know what I'm saying? So that those types of systems are actually helping you save money. But you also need to understand that it's a lot, behind all that people could be using to actually create something of their own. Nest doesn't have to be the only um thermostat company out here, or a smart home thermostat company out there. That technology is out there on GitHub that they're using. They just leveraged it and put it together, and sold it and put it in front of you as a system that can save you money essentially by energy conservation. Same thing with what's the thing that the Amazon stuff, I'm sure that's probably not out there, like the Ring doorbell stuff.
DoorDash.
But yeah, well, no, the Ring doorbell, you know how you push the button and you can talk to the people through
Yes.
the doorbell. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, with the camera and all that stuff. That technology is probably it's probably locked down. I think it might be owned by Amazon. I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of these big tech companies are going to open source, or and putting a lot of their technology out there, because they understand that open source technology is beneficial. Because when we talk about security, which you brought that up, a lot of times open source, software is a lot more secure, because you have a lot more eyes looking at the software versus closed source software, which is owned by whatever company it is. They only have a set team that looks at that information, and that's why, that looks at the code of the application. And that's why a lot of these big tech companies are always getting hacked, or their software always has holes in it or vulnerabilities, because it's only a set people actually looking at the code. And if you know anything about programming, you don't always catch everything. I've
Hmm.
programmed, I've built things, and I've missed certain things. And that's what you deal with when something is closed source, because less eyes on something, less more chances of there being a vulnerability within it. But anyway, I'm getting about this off the subject.
It's
But
okay,
there
but
are oh, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
want to I want to put this guy's message over here to see if this applies to our conversation.
Okay.
It says Josh has 10,000 subscribers. It's just 10,000 subscriber YouTube channel. He does not need help in appealing to his audience. Were we talking about appealing to your audience?
uh I'm not sure, man.
Yeah.
I,
So
I don't know what
okay.
they. I'm not looking at the chat, and
Yeah.
and
So this
oh, go
supposed to
ahead.
be 100 grand right here. Some people are bad for business. So that's why he's trying to say that he's not a contrarian dude. You're wasting time in the chat. But you need to show some support for your boy. This is his moment. Okay. Um, but shout out to AL. But yeah, it's very important for this whole thing when it comes to you know appealing to the consumer as far as getting people to understand what tech is all about. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're saying that a lot of people, and I hear other people saying the same thing. Even my own students that are in the tech,
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to have that tech conversation because they don't know the language, they don't know
Yeah.
the functionalities, the infrastructure, or even the industry. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they tend to keep to themselves or look for other tech people to have this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. And yeah. I mean, but they'll or people. You remember when people was rooting phones back in the day, or what they call rooting a phone?
Hmm.
You essentially getting into the back end of the or the operating system that's running on the phone in order to make changes to it or open it up so you can, see the features. That's essentially tech. That's essentially um I know you following directions that you found on, I don't know, androidtalk.com or whatever it is, but you essentially getting into the main operating system to do that type of work. So that's essentially tech. You're essentially learning tech, and you're essentially learning, or once you get into there and running root commands, you you just need to look at it as that's what tech is in the back end. You know what I'm saying? It's versus just the top end product that you use to essentially make phone calls or whatever you're trying to do with your phone.
Okay, so would you like some people to give you some questions based on what they heard? You want to entertain?
Oh yeah.
You want to go one at a time, or would you like to get a group of people? And how much time
Uh
do you have?
it don't matter. Nah, it don't matter. However you want to do it, man. It's your panel.
I'm gonna
Um
screen them too. I don't want nobody
okay.
trying to get you to talk about defending people talking about women and all that. We don't have time for all that. So
Yeah. I
keep
stay
your
away from them
questions
conversations.
tight.
I think I done got very good at staying away from those type of conversations. So
Yeah, I tend to get hit on the chin with a lot of stuff that other people say, but I wish
mhm.
somebody get me on what I said. I haven't
Yeah.
heard that yet. But yeah, so I put the link in the chat. If anybody have any questions, some legitimate questions, please feel free to put that in the chat as well. Um, so we'll give it a few minutes to see if
Okay.
anybody want to come and ask some questions.
Well,
Uh,
somebody asked something in the chat if you want me to go back and
tell me where it is. Where?
so it was back further back, I believe it was Snuggles said yeah, she said she asked me something. Oh, here we go. You said there are different areas in tech. Could you give us all the things that has to deal with tech that makes
Where
you
is that?
it's way up there. It's close to the beginning.
Oh, here it is.
Um yeah, that's it right there. Yeah. So when I was saying it's different areas, I was talking about like cybersecurity, network administration, systems administration, database administration, which I currently do now. And just to break it down a little more, um, systems administration, you basically managing servers or you managing the actual systems. So Microsoft Server 2016 or whatever is installed on the server, you're basically managing that. Um, you're making sure the software is working properly. You're setting up I don't know, file servers or whatever you setting this server up for. That's a systems administration work. Network administration work, you're simply working with networks, meaning Cisco equipment a lot of times, or just understanding how to load balance servers a certain way using or leveraging the network so people have access to whatever application they're trying to get to, or setting up VLANs, which are virtual local area networks, or setting up VPNs. That's where there's software that sits on top of that. But a lot of times, that's something you can do in switches and routers and stuff. It's setting up VLANs, VPNs, and all that good stuff to connect networks between long distances away. Um, Database administration, like I said, I already explained that, but that's basically you're managing the software that that house the different databases depending on whatever the organization is doing. So that's what I mean by different areas of tech, that you can get into.
Okay. Did that satisfy your question, Snuggles? Said, can you? Oh, she said, can you explain what exactly coding is? What exactly
Okay.
is coding?
Yeah, I got you. So coding is essentially you're just basically writing all right, there's different type of coding languages. That's the first thing I need to start off with. Coding and then there's different purposes for the coding languages. Like there are coding languages that talk directly to the hardware of the system. You can do certain things, and that's considered a kind of like Linux that is written in the C programming language, and it works well. Or you can write things to where it talks directly with the hardware of the system itself. That's a systems coding language. And on top of that, you have application coding languages, where you can build an application using the coding language. And it's essentially another language that you learn that that allows you to talk to the computer a certain way and make the computer do certain things based on whatever you're trying to accomplish using that coding language. And like I said, coding languages are for different things. Like they have coding languages for websites, HTML, CSS, PHP. Those are considered web programming languages, and they leverage web servers. And the web server understands that language depending on if it has the modules in it, and displays the website for the world uh, from the programming language that you wrote. You can specify in the programming language, I want to put this image here, this image there. I want these words to have this bold font. You're writing all that in the programming language, and the web server is displaying that website exactly how you put it in the programming language. It's instructions on how you want something to do something.
Okay, so it's like I think there's an option where you're able to. And shout out to King Wage. He's in us. He's in where you call it. San Jose. So he's in the Silicon Valley area. So he
Okay.
knows I'm talking about where those everybody out there look like Fisher Price people. But they had that smooth face with the glasses and the square head. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, is anybody? I mean, it's weird, man. 2 times I've been there, I saw the same thing. I'm like, God dang. Maybe they all eating soy. I don't know. But we got Jay Shine in the building. What's going
What's
on?
up,
What's
Jay
going
Shine?
on, Brother Jay Shine?
What's up, family? What's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Oh
All
yeah.
right, all right. See, Key Wage know what I'm talking about. He's if anybody went to San Jose, man. But go ahead, Jay Shine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking KIT. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? What's up?
Shit, look, hey, look, man. I just want to come in and give my little 2 cents to this conversation because I think when people talk about tech, it could be a little, you know, alarming to some people who don't really know nothing about it. So they're always wondering, how do I get into it? What do I do first, et cetera, et cetera. I got into my started out as in IT. I started out as you know system administrator, help desk. That's how I got in the game. So I think one of the first things people need to know is that you really don't have to go to college for this.
Yeah.
All right. I think, some people think, yeah, I gotta go to school for 4 years, to become a system administrator. No, you don't. Um, you can start out small with some certification classes. And there's 2 things that are gonna come out of that. One, you'll get certified to at least get an entry level job. And then two, you'll start, playing with, IT and seeing if it's really for you. If it's something that you really want to do. Because there's a lot of different areas in IT. You got break fix and help desk, and you have your system administrators, you have your system designers, you have your network guys, you have your coders and programmers. You have a lot of project managers, program managers. You have a lot of different areas that might meet your skill set in life. Who you are as an individual. I think a lot of people. My opinion, my advice to a lot of people, especially when I talk to young people, always try to find something that you're good at naturally, something you naturally gravitate to. I gravitated to tech because I was always interested in gadgets and radios and TVs. If I had a broken radio as a kid, I would take it apart and see what it was made of. So when I see a TV, I would take it apart and see what it was made of. So I was learning about circuit boards on my own. I was just playing around with old stuff around the house or in a lot back in Brooklyn. So I was always interested in tech. So when I took my ASVAB, when I went to the military, I had a few options and I chose IT and went to computer science school in Fort Gordon, Georgia. Now, KIT, you're gonna laugh when I tell you this. The curriculum wasn't up to date. They were teaching us Windows for Work Group, with coaxials and
Oh yeah.
PNC connected to coaxial terminators and shit. Like this is what they was training us on. And then I get the permanent party. They on Windows NT, fiber and Ethernet.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yep.
had to learn that on the job. So I had
Yep.
to learn that stuff on the job. So it was weird. But 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 I got into it, and and it was pretty easy to me. It came natural to me. So but as I got into the game, I realized I had other skill sets. I was a good manager. I was a good planner. I was a good designer, and then I ventured off into other areas in IT space and became an AV engineer by trade. So I'm an AV system designer, system project manager, and that's what I did, pretty much building out you know conference rooms and operation centers and stuff like that for the big wigs in DC. So I got really good at it, but it was something that came natural to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The way my mind work is mathematical. So if math is not your thing, if you don't have an orderly mind, then you don't have the aptitude for IT. But if you do have the aptitude for IT, my advice would be, and maybe KIT can come in at this point and go a little further. I would, push, certifications. It's a good way to get started. You can get real good paying jobs if you're certified. And say, and give you an example, you get your Security Plus, which is not a starting level certification, by the way. You might
Yeah.
want to go, you know, was it A plus?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Something, on that level first, so you can get used to the certification game, because that's aptitude in itself, just taking this testing and going to training and getting certified. But, just those certifications alone will get you a job somewhere, and making good money, making good salary. And now with the internet being what it is, you can even probably work you definitely can work remotely. And some people, depending on where they work and who they work for, they can work at home. So, I'll stop there, and just wanted to give my 2 cents and really talk about the certification game, because it's a real route for real people. Everybody can't go to college, don't have the time to go to college, don't have the money to go to college. So certifications is not an easy route, but it's a quicker route.
And a shout out to Raya by Design. I don't know why you change your name, sis. But and then we got engineering cannabis. So engineering cannabis, you want to? Oh, damn.
But so, real quick, I just want to say something, Gabe. I'm old, but I'm sexy. Go ahead.
We're all older than Gabe, man. Even my son's older than him. No, I'm joking.
He had to point out that when his OTs, they're old. It's all good.
Yeah, I guess that's his claim to
Yeah.
fame. You come up here
Yeah.
too, man. It's safe up here, Gabe.
Hey, I was actually, when I started playing with this shit, it was Windows Work Group, but I actually go back
I
further than
told you
that.
I was doing the Amiga back in '89 and '90. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean, I came in and on with DOS. You know what I mean? DOS and Linux. You know what I mean? When I was going
yeah.
to
So yeah,
Staten Island
you got to
College on
start
Saturdays,
somewhere.
we had to start a computer with 2 disks. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah.
You got to
Yeah,
start
but
somewhere. But let me read some. Let me see. Snuggles, I have another question. So, when it comes to making microchips, what part of the technology do you consider that, and do you know anyone who works in that field?
and actually I don't know anyone that works in that field. Just to quickly answer,
They're
because I
probably
wanted to kind
cannabis,
of respond to
engineering cannabis.
Jay Shine as well. But yeah, that is an area that people can get into. It's almost engineering. Um, it's computer. Is that considered computer engineering? I'm not 100% sure. Computer hardware design, but that is something that's available for a lot of people. But I mean, in turn, it's kind of like the car industry. We'll design it and then outsource it to another country for them to actually create the product for us, similar to how the iPhone is strictly or it's made in China somewhere or Taiwan or wherever it's made. But someone here in the US actually designed it and came up with the concept of how the chips are put in place and just basically the overall um, design of the motherboard and how everything is put together in order for the ones and zeros to go across it properly. But I just wanted to kind of respond to Jay Shine as well. He said he was talking about back then when he started with the military is always behind, and I know that, Jason. They always behind on a lot of
Yeah,
technology, what I'm
yeah.
saying.
They're like the ants. You ever watch the ants from what's
Disney,
that? No, the ants from
Warner Brothers.
Lord of the Rings. They go have a meeting and they come out of the meeting. Yeah, we just decided. We had a meeting for 2 days. Yeah, we decided you're a hobbit. You're not an orc. They haven't decided if they're going to go to war yet.
Yeah.
It takes them forever just to move on because of security and it's just
Hmm.
politics. So
Yeah.
yeah, but there's a lot of reasons why that happens, but every now and then you do end up in a certain
Yep.
location. You work for one of those off agencies or a small agency in the government, and and there's other agencies in government besides the military, by the way. People, there's IT jobs in the State Department, labor, energy, and sometimes they be more advanced. I mean, NASA. Um, there's a lot of other places you can work and do IT in government. It's not all military. So, KIT is right. The military is usually behind because of politics and and security issues and concerns. So they don't just jump to the latest, and greatest. They can't, because our networks have to be secure. But there are other agencies in the government you can look at.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey,
Okay,
hey,
Mr.
keep it techie.
Analyst. Go ahead, brother.
In terms
What's
of
up,
the other,
engineer?
you can look into the national labs. Those national labs are very good in terms of technology. They basically are the forefront of technology, especially within the DOE, Department of Energy. So look into the national labs or JIC. Those are
He's
good.
a family man. Okay.
Oh yeah, I got kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm done with mine. Mine in college, but go ahead, man.
nah, mine. I still have I have a 4-year old and a
Oh man,
2-year old. So
have
yeah,
fun.
yeah, it's fun though. But yeah, look at JIC, and look at the the basically federal national labs. Those are good avenues, especially within the government. They 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 are forefront in physics and AI and all that. They have brilliant minds in there. So if you're looking within the U.S. government, Jake and national labs, and the national labs are everywhere. So these are PhDs. These are real smart dudes. Some of them are Nobel Prize laureates. They actually work for national labs and all that, in
Yeah,
quantum
that's what I wanted
physics
to
and
get
all that.
into. The whole. That's why I was trying to get into that black tech juggernaut. And you saying, when you have those PhDs, you guys mentioned the military also. I mean, when you put all that stuff on there, is that like the ultimate Voltron of black tech person people?
In terms of having a huge black tech juggernaut, it is possible, but the possibility comes in the niche, because again, we can't be there. There can be a huge next Microsoft and all that, but again, it has to be a niche based sector. So, for instance, if I was going right now, I'm always focusing on the agricultural side or the medical side in AI, because that's a niche sector where nobody's playing around it that much.
Hmm.
So, again, even in hip hop, we in cannabis and hip hop, black folks are the biggest contributors in hip hop and cannabis. So, for instance, if we can have a black tech sector around hip hop is a huge revenue generator. We can have tech sectors in not only creating AI or AI automated systems for hip hop, we can create a lot of tech around hip hop, blockchain, which is being used right now in hip hop, NFTs in hip hop, creating a lot of tech around hip hop, not only in the financial side, but also in the delivery of hip hop, delivery of the music to the consumers. Like, okay, we can be the next Netflix of the hip hop side with the new technology we have. And so there's a lot of opportunities within the tech side, especially within the black side. But we just have to niche it down to become the next Microsoft. Because at this point we can't fight Microsoft right now because Microsoft is a juggernaut. But if we niche down to what we're good at and use that avenue to basically fight Microsoft, then we can use that as an advantage. So hip hop is a huge avenue for Black people to go around tech to become a juggernaut. So as again, agriculture, cannabis, and all that. So those are ways we can people who are drawn to tech and then say, okay, I want to create a startup. Then I say I'm going to create a startup within hip hop or within cannabis, then grow on from it. So those are ways we can do that, but it has to be a niche down process.
Okay. And I believe people probably, I mean, the Black Brain Trust, definitely that's engineering cannabis is from the Black Brain Trust. So so that people will know, you can check their channel out as well. And Gabe Abe, I think he's a little bit puzzled about hip hop and tech. Could you? I mean, is it possible to go a little bit more depth? I hope he's sincere about the question.
Currently, currently, if you look at what's the name, Will I Am. Will I Am is creating AI robot. Okay, for instance, the holograms. Remember when some of the BET awards had holograms of Tupac?
Yes.
That's tech. That's just one avenue. Look at what's the name again? Let's look at the streaming avenues, the streaming services. Those that produce that basically connects um, music to the consumer directly without even going through a label. That is tech in hip hop. Okay, look at recently. What's his name? He utilized blockchain to basically sell his music. What's his name? He's a popular musician. He decided to put his music in blockchain and directly sell it to the consumer without the
Is it
middleman.
Kanye West?
Not Kanye West. If I can remember his name, but he's a popular. I think it
Jay
wasn't
Z?
not Jay Z. He I think wasn't he the one with the Megan Thee Stallion that had a problem with Megan Thee Stallion?
Geez, Lance or something like that.
I can't remember, but I know he had
Nas?
no, he
Nice.
had a problem with Megan Thee Stallion.
It was
But
Nas. I can't wait. Said Nas.
it wasn't Nas. It wasn't.
Wasn't him either.
It wasn't Nas. He shot Megan Thee Stallion in the leg or something like that.
Yeah, Land. Yeah, Tory
Oh,
Tory
Lanez.
Tory
Lanez.
Lanez.
He
Lanes.
Tory
took
Lanez.
his music, packaged it into a blockchain, and sold it to the consumer and made a lot of money. This is part of tech and hip hop. So tech and hip hop are going hand in hand and they're growing. So again, with Gabe's comment, this is where tech and hip hop are coming together. Even Jay Z, his even though it failed, his platform with I think with streaming platform that failed, but again, he decided to bring a streaming platform that basically goes directly from music to consumer directly. That is what tech is. So tech and hip hop are going hand in hand. So again, I'm just saying the beginning phases of hip hop and tech, you can start with it. If Tory Lanez can figure out how to use blockchain to sell his records, we can start using those kind of technology to start creating startups and creating businesses around tech and hip hop. So
Hmm.
these are ways we can encourage people to start. So it's not trying to say we're going to create a juggernaut instantaneously. We're saying this is the starting phase.
Like
This
a
is
like a
how we
starting like a potential snowball effect.
yeah. So we start small. We start with what we know. We are the creators. Black people are the creators of hip hop. We start where we can, and then use that sector, build a tech sector around it, and then grow. This is what it is. It's not saying that we're gonna grow a juggernaut immediately. We start with what we know. Everybody, every big juggernaut, every Microsoft, Amazon started from where they was. Amazon was originally a book site where you can go and buy books and all that, and then grew from there to what it is right now. So that's what I'm saying. We can start with what we know and build a sector around what we know, and then grow into something huge. This is what I'm talking about in terms of tech and hip hop, and this is what's going to be in cannabis space. Grow what we know and grow forward. And this is what Mike Tyson is doing in cannabis. This is what these are what hip hop artists are doing in cannabis because they knew cannabis was part of hip hop and they branched out of it. And so that's what we're saying. Use what we know and grow the tech around it. And then we as black folks can come around it and then grow it into a bigger platform itself. So
Hmm.
this is what it is. And
Yeah,
that's what this is how it's gonna be. So with terms of Gay Bay, I'm gonna say this one time in Gay Bay. I love Gay Bay. He's a brilliant guy in cybersecurity. He's good. So but I've always said there's one thing I tell myself that we are so few of black people in the tech sector that disparaging another black person is it doesn't give you that good energy out there. So I
yes.
will never disparage another black person in the tech sector ever. It's not a good look. It's not helping anybody, and it's not. We're not we're taking information out of the system. So Gabe is a good information. He has a good channel called Struggle Security. Please go there and go look into it. I will never disparage another brother. I think it's
Yeah.
it's the kind of energy out there. It's not what anybody needs. So please go his and and apart from that, but that's where we need to just go around each other and basically grow hip hop itself. And that's what I'm saying.
He's saying that I'm not discourage you, but I disagree with you. Don't be see what I mean. But hey,
Again,
he's on record with this.
I
He's
will
on
not
record.
disparage another brother in the tech sector. We are so few. We don't need. I don't. We don't need that kind of energy out there. So again,
Yeah, but hey,
Gary, good
I
luck
guess
with
he'll
that.
probably give better other channels better energy anyway.
But
So I
so,
guess maybe he's trying
but
to make this his way of making things fun. I don't know.
yeah, but hey, if that's what it is, that's fine. But good. I'm gonna always say put good energy out there, and anything flows goes for you. But again, this is how tech is. And with Kippy Techie, there's one question I need to ask. How do you see with the new technologies coming each year and each year, and technology is basically increasing each year and year? How do we keep up? How do we keep as black folks keep up with each these technologies coming out with AI, blockchain, IoT, all this? How do we as black folks not only keep up but also remain relevant so that we don't fall behind? Because this is an era itself.
See, and that's a and this goes into kind of what I said earlier. I mean, it's just that anytime this new technology is put out there or is starting to be implemented or something, it was out there beforehand. It was out there before it started being implemented in whatever area it was being used in. So we just need to stay on top of the technology as it becomes available. Like, I mean, I see a lot of black people in the space that's talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these different cryptocurrencies, and they keeping up talking about looking at the white papers and all that stuff. but they're not looking at the technology behind all of this stuff. They're essentially wanting to play the lottery all the time,
Thank
some
you.
get rich scheme type of stuff. And I get it, it's attractive. It's something that you don't want to get left behind on if you seeing other people making money with it. But at the end of the day, I think the technology behind it is more important. And
Thank you.
kind of, yeah, and kind of the tide of what you were saying about hip hop and all that stuff. I get exactly what you're saying. um but I think the technology behind it is more important for more black people to learn, and not just, oh, I can leverage this technology to put out a record because I'm already popular. Not everybody is in that situation where they already popular, where they can put out something um and get a whole bunch of people to sell. You need to learn the technology behind it. You see what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I 100% agree with what you're saying. Yeah, the black people that are in those situations to use that technology or leverage that technology, to use it and definitely, you know, try to become that tech juggernaut. But if we get more people in the background to understand the technology, then that would make a bigger juggernaut than just someone that's selling and using their technology. You need to have an understanding of how the technology works behind it in order to, I don't know, to be more successful and own a little bit more of what you're trying to currently not really owning anything. You just own the product that you put on the blockchain and not understanding how you can create your own blockchain. Because me and you had a conversation
Yeah.
about this a while back about understanding how the blockchain works and
Yeah.
creating your own blockchain
Yeah.
instead of leveraging what someone else has already put out there. You can have more ownership if you do it that way. So,
So are we
yeah,
more interested in the fad?
yeah,
And because again, cryptocurrency is the huge thing right now.
hmm
Everybody's talking about it. But again, I had an argument that cryptocurrency doesn't follow economic principles. But again, everybody's up in arms against cryptocurrency. But people who make money in the cryptocurrency are the people who build the technology. The
exactly.
billionaires, the millionaires are the people who build the technology,
Yep.
then utilize the technology then to basically create this cryptocurrency. The richest person in the cryptocurrency space is the creator of Ethereum and all that. Those are the richest people in the cryptocurrency. And they utilize the technology to create what you're looking at as Ethereum and all that.
hmm
Again, we rather follow the fad rather than the back what's the engine that produces what we need to do. Again, for instance, the KS and all that fad and all that. We're interested into the fad, but again, we have other ways to. If I always say, do we need to use the fad to basically teach, or is it just, are we just wasting time, or do we need to focus on fads to teach, to bring that technology into the black community? Again,
Yeah, can I weigh on that real quick?
sure.
Go ahead, fam.
I just want to say this, because I'm a strategist by nature, and what frustrates me with us, as a group of people, is that we don't target the right people. When we talk about coding and IT, we should be providing camps and classes for or training sessions for younger folk. No disrespect to nobody. We all saw the meetup last year, and I don't, even if I don't like certain people, I'm never going to take black men meeting lightly. You know what I mean? Anytime black men come together, I think is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But teaching 40, 50-year-old men how to code is come on, we're not competing with Indians or other groups of people in the correct manner. You know what I mean? I would love to see teenagers, young men in their or women in their 20s, if we're serious about coming into this space. Venture capitalists don't go out and look for old talent; they look for young talent when it comes to new technologies. That's just the way it is. These schools out here that we're competing with, the young people, the other groups of people you're going to be competing with in this space, they're bringing the young people up. They're going to the young talent. They're finding young talent. They're searching for young talent because usually they have the aptitude and the fresh elasticity mentally to deal with the new technologies, and do it in a fresh and creative way.
Let me ask you this, Jay Shine, on that note.
Mhm.
Like, in order for you to get this young talent, from the tech industry or whatever, do you have to be? I mean, does it have to be a company or a group of people to do this, or can it be an individual?
Well, let me give you an example. I could use myself. One thing I can appreciate with the dominant society is that they're smart. When it comes to business. Um, when I told you the story before. When I was in elementary school, I got identified as gifted. So from the first grade, I was in a regular class, but second to fifth grade, I was in E classes. I was in the special wing of the elementary school, where all the classes from first grade to fifth grade were right next to each other. So we basically existed in one side of the building, like special ed. All right. And they do this purposely to identify those who are mathematically or scientifically inclined. When I got to junior high school, I got identified for the prison program, which is the Port Richmond Institute for Science and Math. That was backed up by Hunter College and what's the other college? It's a big one.
That's John Henry Clark School.
Huh?
That's John Henry Clark. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's another. There's two colleges that were sponsoring the program. I could have graduated at 16, 17 years old, and they were trying to find young youth, young talent that was gifted for all areas, science, all the way to technology, and to the IT field. And they do this for a reason, because if they can streamline gifted young people into colleges and put them into their R&D programs, because that's what a lot of colleges are. They're R&D programs, for the rich. And you can go up there in these labs and you can develop things for them. They make the money off of it. It also helps push society forward. Remember, a lot of tech giants that are out here right now were started by young people. You know what I mean? Young people in their prime. We talking about Mark Zuckerberg. We're talking about, Bill Gates. These are young people when they got started. Yep. Young men. You know what I mean? So because they had that fire and energy and that new look at technology that you need. And a lot of them didn't graduate because they didn't need to. You already had the goods. You know what I mean? So, being primed for that program, they had me in the Staten Island College program. Every Saturday we would go learn computers, and that's how I got introduced to computers, was through that program. Now I'm a straight hood kid, but when you coming in hardly paying attention, fucking off in class, and you get 95s and 100s on tests, you're gonna stand out. You know what I mean? So we can do the same thing with our own people. I say that, I give that long story to say this. We need to create camps and programs that identify our gifted youth. You see what I'm saying? And we roll them into our businesses. Keep It Techie already might have a firm or a business going already. He might have a contract going. How are we going to keep fresh blood coming into his company? You see what I'm saying? This is what other people are doing. This is what the dominant society does across the board. They don't care if you black, African, African American, from Africa, Asian. They don't care what you are. If you got the goods, they're gonna roll you up and see what you got. Basically, giving you a shot to see what you can do, and then keep pushing you, and then you go as far as you can go. There's nothing personal about it. It's business.
There's a large outcry on being a cleanup man based on what you just said. What do you say to those people?
That's stupid talk.
Like, how do you address them? Because basically,
I don't address them at all. Those are not serious people. Mm-hmm. Anybody who says it, I've had these debates on X channel. Anybody who talks like that is not a serious person, and they're not trying to fix a problem that they complain about. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because being a cleanup man means you're in the home. See, you benefit a woman. Let's just go there real quick. I mean, I'm not even going to stay on this. All right, because I know this is, Cute Techie's like, I ain't come for this nonsense. So I'm gonna keep it real short. Let me keep it real short. What benefits a woman is if you're in her home, paying her bills, being there as a crutch for her, and then helping her take care of her kids. That's what benefits a woman. But identifying smart children that are not yours is what all the great businesses in society does. So if you're trying to say there's something wrong with the black community and the black communities compete with other groups, then I would say, fine. We're not competing with other groups. Okay, fine. I won't even belabor the point. How do we compete with them then? Then we got to start doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our black men who are out there in Silicon Valley right now, or in some place in Connecticut, working for a medical firm company, handling their IT and their their databases and stuff like that. Some brother that won't never get credit was plucked through some program. He was identified through some program that was funded by those people. You understand me? And we're not doing that. So if you're not going to do that, then you know what I would say to you? You're just as dysfunctional as the people you complaining about. You over here with us, buddy. You say I'm dysfunctional. You say we ain't shit. Well, guess what? You over here with me because you're not doing anything that the people who are successful are doing. If I see young men who want to come up, especially if I'm talking to young black men, if I want to target young black men who want better. See, that's the good thing about having a mentorship program. Mm-hmm. It's only for those who really want to be in it. You know what I mean? It's not, you can't force a kid to be in something or be something they don't want to be. You know what I mean? They have to raise their hand, which means they're looking for better. That means they're defying all the odds. They might be coming from a ratchet single mother, but they want better in life. And they decide, they're making this decision at 10, 11, 12 years old. I can't walk away from that. I don't know how you turn your back on that. That is insane to me.
And just to add some credit to, because you mentioned, I guess our young's, what do you call it, competition. So would you say that, like, for example, Indians, Asians, whoever else, would you say that their people are going to look for them and try to put programs in their schools as well?
Yeah, they do it now.
But it's a problem when we do it, right?
Right.
Okay.
I don't see what's wrong with that. You know what's crazy is we got the cheat code. We already have the welfare assistance, right? We've been put into a welfare position. So most of our kids are in public schools. So we can use what's already there without paying for anything. You know what I mean? It's just all you got to do is create an annex or an appendage, a small little program that's after school. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And maybe in some cases we might maybe still use the school because some schools would probably warm to that. We got a program. We got a couple of guys. We got to keep a techie guy come here and work with these guys 2 days a week. You know what I mean? And and he rotates different brothers to come in. And work with these young men, and we start seeing who's who. And we might have like 8 guys, like 8 kids in the program, but 2 of the motherfuckers are smart. I'm like, God damn, this little motherfucker smarter than me. And I can't let him know that, but he's smarter than me. You know what I'm saying? And you've seen this in junior high school, and you've seen it in the high school kid, and then you bring those 2 kids up to the next level. You see what I'm saying? You find a program for them or a scholarship for them. This is what other groups are doing. And you know what's crazy? I'm gonna shut up on this point. A lot of these other groups are using our HBCUs to do it. There's white kids that go into our HBCUs who've been identified for certain scholarships, and they're going to our HBCUs, and we're not even identifying our own people. Now that's all, and it's not just foreigners; it's also white kids. This is what's happening, and we're not doing that. So when I hear people telling me that we're helping out Keisha, that's a short-sighted nigga that got a problem with black women. That in truth, he's really worshiping black women because all he can fucking think about. I'm thinking about the future. We got to think about the future. As grown men who are 40 years old, who've had our fun, we need to be thinking about the future. You understand me? That's our responsibility. So we identify young people and put them in the game and then teach them certain things and then hand them off to engineering cannabis, hand them off to KIT. You know what I mean? And like, all right, so these brothers right here, you got a company. I got a young man that can help you with that. He's looking for a job. You got any money for him? No, I ain't got no money right now. We still trying to build up. I could offer him an internship. There you go. It's better than nothing. And if he can't afford the internship, that's when I go in my pockets and make sure that young man gets back and forth to where he needs to be. You see what I'm saying? This is what we do to build our societies again. But motherfuckers don't want to do the hard work. They just want it to happen. You know why? Because they think like fucking ratchet women. I closed.
Engineer cannabis?
So I'm going to agree with Jay Sean in one case. Other groups are what they are currently doing, especially this is going to also answer with Snuggle 68 about details. One thing that's coming down the pipeline is the infrastructure bill that was passed, I think, last year, that gives a huge amount of money to not only technology but also teaching technology. And other groups are utilizing this money and building academies and teaching institutions in the Black neighborhood to teach your kids, but taking that money for them, but also teaching your kids these technologies. They're taking the infrastructure bill, the money for the but nobody's talking about it in this sector. Nobody's talking about that infrastructure bill, that huge amount of money that you can tap in by writing a proposal to the right individual and saying, hey, I need this money. Again, with the Snuggle 68 question, an infrastructure bill, writing, I need this money to teach these individuals blockchain, these individuals AI, machine learning, all that, and formulate an academy around it and say, okay, I need 2 million for the next year to teach this community how machine learning works or how AI works or teach them new technology. And it comes in the government grants, especially within the infrastructure bill. This is what's happening now. So other groups like the Indians, Asians are taking that money and saying, I'm going to use that money to teach the Black neighborhood on how this works. And that money is then taken from them and going to another neighborhood. So again, they're teaching you, but they're still gaining money to go to using money to the other place. We're not utilizing these opportunities because that's not what is being discussed in this type of sector. Nobody's saying, hey, if a brother wants to start an academy or something to teach young men how to do farming in tech or how to do hip hop in tech and say, okay, I'm going to write a proposal to the infrastructure to teach people how to do hip hop in tech, infrastructure bill. They can do that with just the infrastructure bill. So again, this is just one avenue, and these are millions of dollars that can be used to teach and also help brothers start small businesses to basically teach people, especially young youth, in tech. But nobody's talking about that. The infrastructure bill is ignored totally. I've never heard one topic of the infrastructure bill in Black YouTube. No one topic on the infrastructure bill, and that's millions of dollars just being funneled to teach tech, and many people can basically gain from that. But again, I'm not going to lie. I'm talking to other people about how to get that money. I'm talking to Indians. I'm saying, how are you getting that money? I need to know. What proposals are you writing? How are you formulating it? And I'm going to use what they tell me to do. But again, is that formula being shown here in the Black YouTube? No.
No.
Rather, I'll show you Kevin Samuels and how the Nicki Minaj and stuff pops up. But I'm not going to tell you about the infrastructure bill because again, it's millions of dollars and somebody else can go get it. I don't need. So I see these are the advantages I see that we're not taking. And again, is it popular? No. But is it beneficial? Yes. But we're not talking about it. And this just one avenue, just the infrastructure bill. And that's millions of dollars that you can write as a black business owner, minority business owner. I need this money. And you have access to it as a black minority business owner, saying, I want these funds to bring new technologies to the youths in this area. And the government will clearly give it to you because one, you're a black minority business owner who's trying to build infrastructure in areas that don't have it. And they give you that kind of money, but nobody's talking about how to tap into it. What do I need to tap into it? Who do I need to put in the proposal? What do I need to get this proposal? Who do I need to talk to? Where can I go? Nobody's talking about it. And this is money. It's a huge amount of money that's being tapped by the Indians, by the Asians, and they use the minority wave, which I've talked about, to get it. And I'm laughing because it's there. And am I going to use it? Yes. Is it there? Yes. Is the information there? You can surely look it up. But again,
It's good that you mentioned that My mother, before she passed, she talks just like you, engineering challenges, and keep it techie. We just mentioned that as far as speaking the language of tech and getting people interested in trying to find out the cheat codes and ins and outs. Let me ask you this.
Go
Now,
for it.
obviously, the Asians and the Indians, I would just say those alone, they definitely share like the cheat codes with with each other. No problems. It's like, hey, what you need to know here, this how you do it. Boom, boom, boom. Take the map. Let me know how it turn out. Us, do we have a sharing problem or a listening problem? What is it? Which is it?
It's a I don't think so much of a that much of a sharing problem because there are people sharing, and this kind of ties back to what I wanted to respond and what Jay Sean was saying. I 100% agree with what he said. Um, these other groups are leveraging the opportunities that are out there for us to get themselves in a better and they're identifying people at a very young age. You know what I'm saying, to put them on the right track to to be successful in the tech field, and that's something that we're not doing. So I 100% agree with what he was saying. um, we need to get better at actually, identifying the younger people, because yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, if you 40 plus, you know what I'm saying, it's not that it's impossible or it's too late, you know what I'm saying, to actually get in the field, but we need to focus more on the people that can innovate. Not saying older people can't innovate, but a lot of these young people are coming with, the trends and all the things that are going on in the world that could possibly create something around all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm starting to realize how out of touch I am. I'm right at 40. I'm 39. I'm starting to realize how far out of touch I am with the trends and the things that are going on, that these young people are, tied into. You know what I'm saying? I got a younger brother. He 16, 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? And he just understands how things are trending, the lingo and all that stuff is I'm just out of touch with it. You know what I'm saying? Just having conversations with him about certain things, whether it's hip hop, whether it's, whatever is, I'm kind of out of touch with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's where that innovation comes from. Just like what Jay Sean said earlier, a lot of these guys started these big tech giants, at younger ages. You know what I'm saying? And not discounting people that aren't, but we need to focus on people that are younger getting into this field. And that's kind of the problems I've had in the past. I know I'm going off of your original question, but that's one of the problems I'm having now is trying to relate this to younger people a little bit better, or do a better job of relating the topics that I talk about to younger people, as well as like one of the things I'm looking at leveraging is going to the local community college as well as the university that's here, to try to find people that are in, at least in STEM or in some form of STEM or technology, to um, get them to write articles or get them to talk about certain things in tech that they are learning at that young age, that can relate more to people at that age. You see what I'm saying? That makes sense. So, but at the end of the day, we do need to start leveraging, a lot more of the youth, and that's why I'm pushing my kids into it. Not not saying, oh, you're gonna do this and nothing else, but you're gonna at least have some tech skills, because it's gonna be needed in the future, and it's here to stay. And that's gonna be centered around pretty much all the jobs that are out there. You know what I'm saying? Some form of tech is gonna be needed for people to understand.
Okay. And there's in night he gave us a post that said, "I'm about to turn 53. Where would be a good place to start in tech? I have heard good things about Red Hat." So
Yeah.
that's
Can I answer that question?
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well, it depends on how much money you got. Because I would tell you, sir, at 53, because I'm gonna show you why in a minute, but I'm gonna give you my answer real quick. At 53, you should be coming in on some management shit or as an investor. That's it. Understand the technology enough where you understand how it works and how you're gonna make your money off of it and invest in it. That's what I would tell a 53-year-old man getting into tech on the investment side or the management side. Because, and I'm gonna tell you why. I told you that story earlier when I said I was in school and I was trained on Windows for work groups. And then I got to permanent party a few weeks later. They was on NT. And then as soon as I got there, NT went to something else, right? Think about all the people who used to make money repairing and programming compact disc for storage or music. They're out of business now. Streaming services are here. So think about all the people who used to make money programming and putting together DVDs for movie companies, you know what I mean, watermarking them and all that kind of shit. They're out of business now. There's some still around, but they don't. But they don't need as many people to do it anymore because that technology, One of my point is the technology is always going to change. It's going to keep changing. So you coming in at 53 to learn the current technology, you have to have a lot of bandwidth because it's going to switch. That's why I always give it to young people, because they have the laxity, the mental laxity at a young age to keep learning and going with the curve and innovating within those curves. If you come into something right now at this age, you got to catch up with all the young people that's doing it right now. And then now also keep up with the changes that's coming on right now. There are changes happening right now. You know what I mean? So my question to you is that, do you want to be at 55, 56 in another class, learning how to do something, constantly relearning something at 55, 56, 60 years old? You know what I mean? That's my question to you. You know what I mean? So, that's how you got to look at it. If you're coming into something at 53, you're going to be in at least 10 years, right? So you're going to be at 63 doing IT. I'm saying, you see what I'm saying? I'm just going to keep it realistic with you. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. This is not the females channel where, girl, you can do what you want, girl. No, we ain't doing that. We're going to talk real. You know what I mean? Right. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you you're not fat. You fat, nigga. You understand me? So it is what it is. You know what I mean? So that's why I say technology is a young person's game, because it changes so goddamn quick and so fast. Is Blockbuster anybody? You know what I mean? So maybe Netflix had to adjust. They were in the right place at the right time, because they were doing the DVD thing hustle, and they moved right over to streaming, and that was a great decision. If they did not do that, they'd be out of business right now, because technology changes, and it's not just your technology that changes. You're in the world of tech. You don't know where the change is going to come from. It can come from China. It can come from India. It can come from the movie industry. It can come from the music industry. It can come from the cannabis industry. It can come from anywhere, because somebody's going to come up with something to do something better, to make money better, to make money better, and then make apps work better and make technology work better. And then that's going to affect the whole market. It's going to affect other industries. And you can be in an industry that's completely separate from that product, but it's going to impact you, because this is how we're doing business now. I'll give you one last example. Hard drives used to be the size of a pillow, and you had people who had jobs repairing that shit. You know what I mean? And engineering them and putting them together and all that. They're out of business now. We in solid state drives. Solid state drives are size of half the size of my iPhone. You know what I mean? And hold more. You know what I mean? So it's not a spinning disc no more. You know what I mean? The technology has changed. You don't remember that company Zip? Remember that Zip company? The Zip disc and all that? They done.
Yeah.
250 megabytes, nigga, please. You know what I mean?
We've been going past era.
Yeah, I got that on an SD card. You know what I mean? So, technology is going to keep changing. It's going to put people in and out of businesses. That's why you got to be careful. Everything is really short term in IT. Be honest with you. You got to get in where you fit in. And like I said before, you got to have the aptitude for this, because it is very challenging for people who don't have the aptitude for it. You know what I mean? And it's going to change. And that means you got to go along with the flow, and you got to go with the curves. And I would that's why I suggest young people doing it, because if you're going to compete with these other groups, we're competing with their young people. You know what I mean? And they're very thorough. Those young people, they change them in and out in Silicon Valley. They keep that place young. You understand me? And you know what I'm saying? So that's what you're competing with. And you're competing with the new Silicon Valleys. The new Silicon Valleys, the one that's in Dallas, the one that's in Herndon, and out there in Reston, out in Virginia. There's a whole bunch of places I could talk to you about. where there's so much talent, that's needed and that's working right now that you're going to be competing with. So my suggestion is that get your money together, script as much money you made in your 53 years, and become a venture capitalist. And a good story, and I'm close on this, is Chameleonaire. Chameleonaire got into the app game, and some other venture capitalist opportunities, and that boy turned 1.5 million on one thing, and it got sold to Disney, made $20 million, and still up to make another $5 million for his cut.
That's what engineering academies
they sold for what was it, 500 million, and then they got another 450 million if they meet certain milestones. So these guys, man, I'm just telling you, this is what I know, man. This is what's going on out here. Big Boy did the same thing. Our brother who out there in LA who got shot, Nipsey, he had his thumb on this. He had a little tech lab bringing young people in. That was very smart. Keep it tech what he was doing. He had that free tech lab for the young people to come in there and play around. That's another way to identify talent. He knows that his music business and to stay, independent, and anything else he wanted to do as far as in the future is going to require tech. So he created not a place where you play hoops, a place where tech people come in and play around. You know what I mean? And that's what we can do. So the question I want to answer earlier that Snow was asked, how can we do this? We're already doing this. We already do it for music. We already do it for sports. We identify talent for sports all the time and get them to the right coach. You know what I mean? Or get them to a league, or get them to a point where they can be seen, or whatever the case may be. Let a brother run fast as hell. Somebody gonna find a way to get him on track or a football team. You see what I'm saying? We just gotta change that mentality of certain areas where we do things naturally. We naturally do this when it comes to musical talent. We naturally do this when it comes to athletic talent. Why are we not doing this when somebody has a business acumen or acumen in IT? Those are the two areas we need to be identifying young people at.
Right.
Yeah.
How we doing? Go ahead, Tom.
My bad.
You take it.
No, I was just gonna say, just to touch on what Jay Sign was saying. I mean, he's absolutely correct. You know what I'm saying? When you what I give, the advice I give people that's older, like 50 something years old or whatever, you're gonna have to leverage the skills that you already have, and see what ties over to tech.
Yes.
That's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be hard to start at ground zero. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't get into salaries much earlier, but I mean, tech support, that's $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, depending on where you live at. So you'll be starting at the bottom if you're starting, just learning this technology from the ground up and trying to get into it. That's another reason why Jay Shine said it was a young man's game, because young man, no kids, no responsibilities, probably staying with his parents or something or whatever, however his situation is. Can afford to, live good on $50,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got many bills and a family and kids and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to say, oh, you could just start over in tech at 50 something. Nah, man, you're gonna have to leverage what you already have and use that as experience to put you into that tech area, so to speak. Sales. If you did sales for years, and sorry, that just popped up in my head. If you did sales for years, you can leverage your skills you learned as a salesman in software sales, which makes a whole lot of money. Look into Black Heights, his channel. He does that for a living, and he makes a whole bunch of money doing sales. You know what I'm saying, in IT. So I mean, you can get money out of it. It's just starting from the beginning is not feasible for someone at an older age.
I agree, and somewhat I agree with Kipiteki, but again, your skill again is beneficial. Your past skill and your what you currently do. Again, learning, for instance, I always tell people, if you're a nurse for 15, 16 years, you don't need to abandon that career to basically switch to tech. Again, you can take maybe one or two classes or a couple of certs in data analytics or something, and say, okay, what are the problems in the health sector I can solve with data and create an avenue or create something that can solve that problem. And that basically that's money in there. So utilizing your skill, even okay, as a lawyer, the biggest problems right now in law is one of the biggest problems is race bias. How can I solve how the law is basically treating people of color differently? They're doing it with AI and all that right now, but how can I become more efficient in that? You can learn, take some classes, learn it, take a year, learn it, then use that your knowledge of law and your new knowledge of tech and create solutions. Again, yes, it's a young man's game, but it's also an experienced man's game too. If you have, again, look at cannabis. Cannabis is a new industry where if you have experience in tech and cannabis, right now, I've scoured all over the internet looking for people with AI and blockchain technology, with the knowledge of cannabis in there, and it's difficult to find because that's a set skill that nobody. It's very difficult to find. But if you learn it, you can be very successful and you can pay well. I know right now, IBM right now. I was talking to people working at IBM. They're looking for people who can create solutions on how to cultivate a whole cannabis facility, automated cannabis facility, how to automate, how to create blockchains for cannabis itself. I'm talking to them. I'm working with them right now. And because again, cannabis is a new sector that nobody knows where it's going. But if you understand that sector and a little bit of technology, you can be successful. Again, yes, it's a young man's game, but also it's an experienced man's game. Take your experience, put a little bit of tech, like basically any food, you sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper on it, it becomes better. So take your experience and sprinkle a little bit of tech in it, and then go after what you want. Build a technology, build a SaaS company, invest, do a lot of stuff. But again, you still have that knowledge base. But put a little tech in it, and then you can succeed. At 53, don't get me wrong, 53, yes, but you have lots of experience. And if you have experience in logistics, you can take right now. You have a problem with logistics. You have
Okay.
problems around the world with logistics. But if you have a little tech experience and put it in logistics, right now, if you have a little data experience, a little AI experience, and you have logistics experience, if you put that together, you can solve problems in logistics or how the pathways of how trucks can become, how you can expedite trucks, how you can expedite goods and services quickly. And they pay you a lot. I know Home Depot, a lot of companies pay a lot of people just to understand the logistics, how to produce it, how to get their goods from them to their customers. This is what's going on. So yes, experience matters. Yes, youthfulness that matters. But again, you can put a little bit tech in it and you can make a lot of money in it. So again, there are two ways you can look at it. You have experience, put a little tech in it, you can then create something great because you know the ins and outs, the problems in that industry. Then you have the solution, which is tech, and solve that problem. With the youthful ones, they know what's coming up. They can then say, okay, how can I use tech with all these new innovations coming up and then producing it? Again, right now I'm in the middle. I'm in my 30s. So I can see both sides and see I have experience and also I'm still a little bit youthful to know what's going on. So I can see both sides. So this is what's going on.
Yeah. So, and then Black Brain Trust has been going over this thing that engineering cannabis is going up, I think, for the last few weeks or so. So they've been doing some refreshers and talking about things that are up to date as well. So check their channel out. Let me see. Anything else? Yeah. Let me see. I mean, Snuggles gave us a whole bunch of free questions here. Snuggles be throwing all kinds of money in other people's chat, but he asking me a lot of free questions or keep it techie, but it's all good. It said, Oh, so we already talked about infrastructure. I showed Robert F. Smith's uh, philanthropy website, and it did mention all the stuff that we're talking about. Matter of fact, it mentioned what Jay Shine was talking about, and he is an alpha, and he, matter of fact, used a few of their initiatives as some of the things to reach out to the youth with in different schools and things of that nature. So we do have them. It's just not on CNN or it's not on Black YouTube. But they still doing it. Um, anything else anybody wants to add? How we doing on time? Anything else you want to, you want to talk about your drum playing too?
I was want to add real quick.
Okay.
Just to make sure I'm clear on the infrastructure question. Use what's already in existence first. All right. Use what's in existence. Use your churches. Use your. I'm not a Christian, but I will go to a church youth center in a minute. You know what I mean? If you got a bunch of young men down there who are not on the streets, you know what I mean, trying to do something different with themselves, whether it's in business, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in IT, you know what I mean, whether they want to go in the government, military, we can talk about it. Start small, and that way, if you can't identify talent if you're not around, you know what I mean. So I respect what Robert Smith did, because what most people need when they come out of college is not debt. You know what I'm saying? What they need is capital. And that's the second issue. Once you get trained in something, whether it's in IT, whatever industry you in, capital becomes a problem. But first things first, identifying talent is what we need to really do. And I think we have some of the best talent. We got some geniuses in our community. I'll give you a quick point, because my brother here, engineering cannabis, he got my wheels turning. I watch some of those videos and I see some of those cannabis plants that these white boys have, and I'm like, these motherfuckers are damn Frankensteins, man. Just the technology they use, and it's science, right? Because they're growing plants, but they're using technology in different ways of technology to grow the plants. And you know what I mean? And they got these crazy labs, you know what I mean, of just using technology in different ways. And it's very interesting, but it still comes down to currency. Now, we have a great Black American by the name of George Washington Carver, who revolutionized currency. Anything dealing with wheat, grains, or soy in American, culture, it came through the Tuskegee Institute. If you look up the Tuskegee Institute, you'd be surprised how much shit that those Black students came up with. This fits into what I'm talking about. Using your youth to innovate. And they created complete industries. Now, we never got credit for it. But half the shit that's on the shelf, more than half, that's on the shelf in the supermarket, came from their findings, from their works. I bullshit you not. This is American culture. There's a lot of things that Black people invented and came up with and innovated that we never got credit for. This is who we are. And we got away from that. So this is not really foreign. I know a lot of people are like, man, we can't do this. We can't come up. We can't compete. Yes, the fuck we can. What we got to do is stop getting out of the mentality of not working with each other. I'll close on this point. Create rooms between you and your local partners. This is not some internet shit. This is real work. People that you work with in real life, guys you trust and know. And that's on the same page. Create rooms and leave the door open and see who walks through. You know what I mean? Walk down, go to your local church and see if they got youth programs, community centers, what's going on. And just go down there and sit around and see what's going on. Ask them if you can put a IT training program down there. You know what I mean? They might even pay you to do it. You see what I'm saying? You just never know what's going to happen unless you try. The bottom line is that we have so much talent that's untapped, and it's all in America. And we have things we can latch onto. We don't have to build a building, create a school. We can latch on things that already exist. We can latch on to public schools. We can latch on to daycares. We can latch on to, like I said, the church. We can latch on to we can latch on to other people's camps and give them something else to train their children in. You know what I mean? I don't see why it's not doable. What's not doable is that the reason why it's not doable is because we have a culture of non-cooperation. And we never, you know what I mean? We never used to be like that. But in the last 50, 60 years, we developed a culture of non-cooperation. And we're going to have to get off that. Because if not, our grandchildren are going to suffer. Your grandchildren are going to work for Habib. You know, Afghanistan's in the Afghanis that's in the country right now that came over from Afghanistan, the refugees.
They getting
Well,
hired.
your children gonna go to school and they're gonna cooperate, and your grandchildren gonna work for them. How about that?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to say this. When all days is done and everybody's looked at the KS and Nikki stuff, and we close the laptops and we go to our everyday life, we get hit by the reality that gas is $5.
$6 over here.
Okay, that's even bad. Damn. Inflation is 7.5%. Where people are homeless, and it's getting bad out here. It's not getting easier. It's not. It's getting really bad. I'm not saying it's gloom and doom, but I'm saying this is what's happening. This is our reality. We might want to escape reality and go into YouTube and see all the jokes, but at the end of the day, that laptop has to be closed or that computer has to be closed. You have to go out and say, okay, I need to feed my family. I need to feed myself. I need to know what's going to happen tomorrow. I need to make sure my kids have a hot plate. It's getting, and again, homelessness, people are losing homes right now. People, recently I saw a video about a trucker complaining that he's filling his truck $1,000. That's going to have a cascading effect on our food, our milk, our wheat, our everything. This is a problem that no amount of entertainment we're going to escape this. So what I'm saying is the avenue is here. Yes, it's tech. There's businesses, but there's avenues. There's government. There's different avenues. There's a problem. The problem is the economy is getting tougher. We need a solution. Nobody's talking about a solution much of the time. We're always trying to basically try to entertain you guys for you to forget about the problem. The problem still exists. We need that solution. That solution needs to be in forefront of the Black YouTube right now, because the white, other groups are talking about the problems. They are addressing the problem each day that gas is going up, inflation is eating up their savings. Everything is housing is getting bad. A house in DMV, in the DMV area, is like to get a decent house with a neighbor with a big yard is around $700,000. A decent house in the DMV area. To get it in a more rural area is about 400,000. The Black community is getting priced out of not only the housing but other areas, and nobody's talking about it. This is what we're supposed to be talking about 24 hours a day. That this is getting bad out here. The KS and all that, it's not helping anybody right now. It's not helping fuel prices. It's not helping food and inflation. It's just keeping your mind entertained while the real world is hitting you badly in the back.
But would you say that if you think about it, fam, I'm just going to keep it 100. You know, we keep talking about KS and so on. How much work has KS put in to put his product out compared to how much work we do to put our product out? That's the question that we have to ask.
The question is, how much effect does KS's product or his talking points have an effect on the gas prices or your everyday life as an individual who's going to work to collect money or paycheck to increase your value, or the food on your child's table that he's hungry and looking at you? Is KS talking points going to help that feed that child?
Well,
Because again,
it depends on the consumer, doesn't it?
But that's the question. If we always put in this in the consumer's face, the consumer will always come to saying, I don't want to face my real world problems. I want to be entertained.
Now, you understood my question, right? Because that was very important.
Are we marketing? No. But again, are we supposed to be marketing the needs in your life? Are we supposed to be marketing that? Aren't you supposed to be looking for that? Especially right now? Isn't that supposed to be a priority? Because in every priority, the other stuff comes in later, especially now with the economy. Shouldn't that be the most priority we should be working on? Because again, gas prices, unless you can tell me KS's talking points can affect gas prices,
I
shouldn't
think
you be
everybody
working?
agree with you though. I think a lot
Yeah,
of people agree with you, but I think the stuff that you're talking about, I think that's the time where they get away from work and listen to whatever madness that people approve of. But
by
you
the end
know,
of the day, you should go back and still face it.
I think what we're talking about here though is to put because the thing is what I'm hearing, and I'm and I don't think he's not a fan of me, and I'm not really listening to him that much either. But I think it goes to the point to where how bad do you want your stuff out there? Because according to what I'm hearing in the background is that he worked day and night to get his stuff out there. What are we doing to get our stuff out there where they need to hear to get gas prices and all that kind of stuff? What are we doing to put this stuff out there so that we listen to us more than him?
Okay,
That's my question.
Keep It Techie does. Keep It Techie has free courses on Linux. He talks to individuals on a daily basis. On every Sunday, every Saturday, he brings new individuals to bring on different sectors of tech. He goes to panels, he does that. But the question is it that receptive? Let me even show you real data. I went to Shay's channel on the same day, talked about cannabis businesses and how profitable it is. And what I got was like 300 people on that. 2 hours later, he talked about a subject dealing with women and how women and something. It got 10,000 views. 300, and same 2 hours later. This was the same day, 2 hours later. You see the analytics in there? The question is, are we interested in that part of view, even though we're hurting bad? Are we interested in, even though you have all the marketing and you have all that, are we interested compared to the other community? The other community, if Kippy Techie goes to the other community and does his stuff, 10,000 is the least of his subscriber count. He probably get 150,000 quickly. The question is there interest in what we're talking about? Do we believe that what we're talking about is really going to happen and affect our life? Do black people believe that going into tech is really going to affect our lives, or are we really is it feasible to get 150 to $200,000 in tech? Do we believe that kind of money is feasible? I know it's feasible, but again, the question is, do we as black folks believe that is a feasible avenue? Or do we only still believe the avenue of what we currently know, hip hop, football, basketball, are the only avenues that are really, really feasible for us to make that money right now? That's the question. Is it? Are we still? Do we still need a culture shift? If I go to any company, the question they ask is the culture in the company. How does the culture in the company works? The same thing can be looked at into the black community. How does the culture of the black community works?
But you
Are
brought
we
up
still
a good example because just real quickly to lead back to what you mentioned before, and I'm hopefully we're not taking up too much time. Keep it taking. Let us know. Um,
No, you
but
good.
but the thing is, like for example, in politics, just alone in politics, for the most part, we're usually sold. Um, we're sold on who's been appointed as a position versus things that are tangible in our pockets for the most part. If this person has been appointed here, oh, we're celebrating, but we still left hanging. In entertainment, oh, this person got a Academy Award or a Grammy, but we're still struggling. That's supposed to be something to say, hey, black folks haven't made it. So I'm saying that it's not just black YouTube going on as far as what people are saying based on famous stuff. It's mainly is mainly everybody's looking at an example or a figure, even people that are dead. They still resurrect the Tupacs and all these other kind of stuff. So going back to your point, you said that because you was answering Gabe's thing about hip hop and tech. Wouldn't that be your way to compete with the chaos talking points to get your message out there?
Yeah, but the question is, yes, that's the way. But the next question is, am I an expert in hip hop? No. Do I know people who are experts in hip hop? Can I talk to them and say, hey, can we collaborate? You know music, you know this. Hey, why not you talk about music? And I tell you, okay, hey, you can use this tech with this music and become more popular. Or are there ways to do these avenues? Yes. But the question is, do we am I going to invest my time to do this to know if it's possible? That's the question. I've seen the past history of how tech is accepted in this space. And it's not something you really want. I have ideas in tech and how to bring, even with sports. I said there's an avenue where you can use tech in sports where you can tell people, hey, if you want to, for instance, if you want to know how to beat Mike Tyson in his prime and how to compare him with Muhammad Ali, you can do that with tech. You can draw with their data. You can draw up a conclusion on who will win and do a simulation. And people, you will enjoy it. Or even your greatest basketball players, Michael Jordan and Kobe, who will win in the modern day time? You can draw up that conclusion with tech, with data. Hey, the speed, all that, and this. What will happen if you put them together one on one, and then see what happens? You can draw a conclusion and say, hey, I can create a channel and say, hey, let's drop conclusions on. Everybody's been arguing on who is the best player, Kobe or LeBron and this, and say, okay, we have their data. Why not just run up a simulation? And then we say, hey, this is the winner. And we argue about it, and that's a channel on the show. But the question is, and at that point, you're drawing people with tech and basketball, baseball, or drawing tech and music. All that, it is possible. But the question is, do we really want to are people really willing to listen to that? Or do we just want to hear, again, we already listen to stats, and that's tech. Statistics is tech. Doing stats and all that. We can implement that and use that as a way to talk to people about tech. But again, are people susceptible to this? People really want to hear about this?
and
That's
it,
the
and
question.
yeah, and this goes into why I originally came into this space. It was it was because of what O'Shea was doing, as far as bringing on different people from different walks of life. And I'm gonna just what I'm gonna just speak to what's majority of what's talked about in this space. But currently, but back then, it was all about bringing guys in that were professionals, bringing out guys in that were doing things in different fields or creating businesses and all that stuff. And just putting the information out there for black men to be successful. And I was drawn to the brotherhood of the space. You know what I'm saying? And it's just I've always understood the importance of brotherhood as a way to guide the youth, by bringing other young people into the fold to put them on the right track in order to be successful. And um, but it shows now what majority of what people are interested in, which that was part of the space as well. The whole relationship, the whole gender war thing, that is almost the forefront of what was being talked about and currently still being talked about. And that's what a lot of people associate with this space is the relationship issues with black men and black women. But that's not all what's here. You know what I'm saying? And people, it seems like is I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, they come in here for that, but there are other things on YouTube besides that that you can actually learn from and better your life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's I guess I wouldn't say it's a marketing thing. It's just your interest. Uh, a lot
Right.
of people when they're young, and I know that for me, I was out there, chasing women, doing what I wanted to do or whatever to try to get women or whatever, and that was something that was on my mind, you know what I'm saying, in the forefront, you know what I'm saying? And it took time to change that or whatever, but I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to do something, you know what I'm saying? But it's all on what's on the you can't change what's on people's mind at the
Right.
end of the day and what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? All we can do is put the information out there, and if they come, they come. And that's kind of the mindset I have now. I mean, it's okay. I'm sick of going to these channels and just trying to put it out there. Say, hey, come get in the check. In the tech, come get into this, man. This is a big money maker. This is something you can actually do. I just put it out there, man, and the people that's interested gonna come. And I go around, and that's the thing. I don't be interested in a lot of that stuff, bro. And I'm be 100% honest. Because I've been married. We talked about that earlier.
Speaking my
I'm married.
language.
I don't have issues with getting women. I didn't have issues with getting women when I was younger either. You know what I'm saying? I understand not everybody uh I guess have it to where they can be successful with women or whatever, or find someone or whatever. I understand there are people out there, and that's what those channels are for, supposedly, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you also need to focus on what you want to do to be successful as a man at the end of the day. And that's why I'm here, is to put that information out there for people to actually get into a better situation. No matter what your relationship status is, that should be separate. You know what I'm saying? That's a separate issue. Go. I mean, if you need that help, go find that help. But there's other help on here as well. But it's just you can't change people's mind on what they want to actually listen to, which is more entertainment and you know chasing women, basically.
But you know what's crazy, man? And welcome, people. Welcome, Ray Alexander and T. Riddler. Is that I don't think anybody's wrong in what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? I think there's priorities that need to be paid attention to. I think there's things that people may want to be able to indulge in if they want to. They putting dollars in that, time, views. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, you
I'm looking
free to do whatever
right,
you
and it's
want.
free too, right?
Yeah.
My stuff is like what 8 hours damn near, so they can come in and listen and tail in and even engage, hop on panels, even disrupt them for free, right? Um, but I'm looking at also the marketing 101, and for some reason, and I know people don't like to hear it, but most marketing deals with an aspect of the female, the mother type, the feminine warrior, and the real cutesy type, right? Usually that's always used in I mean, if you turn on the TV right now, I bet you in between programs we watch, there's usually some suggestive woman slobbering over a sandwich or a lollipop to advertise something. Or also they got this motherly figure showing her how she's cleaning the floor with a new product. Um, you got another woman showing how strong she is on how she's able to, I don't know, hit a shot with like Venus Williams or whatever. You got all these different things, but there's usually women as the selling point. Is that something that's missing on the tech side?
No, I
Mm,
don't. I don't think
no.
so. And the reason I say that, and I'm gonna let you go, engineer. I just want to say this right fast, because you actually brought up engineering about the course that I created. I created a Linux course. It's not looked at the same in other community, so to speak. I put that course up, I put it out there. And I put it on this side first. You know what I'm saying? I told people about it in this sector, which I understand. Not everybody's gonna be interested in tech, but another channel, YouTube channel, that heavily focuses on tech, you know, just like I do on my channel, in a whole nother sector away from this type of content. That course, I think I got what, maybe 2,000 views over here. um the same exact course was picked up by Free Code Camp, and it has over 100 and close to 150,000 views on it, with a whole bunch of raving reviews or comments beneath it, saying that this is an excellent course. This is, you know, helping me get into positions that I thought I wasn't going to be able to get into. All these great comments over there on that side with all those views. And I want to reiterate this. I'm not in it for the money, but hey, if it come, it come. But you know, that's not why I'm putting this stuff out here for free. It's to help people. It's to help black men. And that's why I'm associated with this space. But for it to get all the attention on the quote unquote other side, it makes you wonder what's the priorities, or where are people's priorities, you know, in this space. I mean, it lets you know that the relationship piece is what is more important. And go ahead, engineering. Sorry.
Jerry?
To head out in the field, I have to go take care of my kids. So this is the thing. One, the relationship space. The funny thing is the tech guys that are making the most money in the relationship space with the new apps or the dating apps and all that. They're the one making a killing in the relationship space. They create all these apps to connect men and women and collect all that data and make a killing. Those are the people who are making the money in the relationship space. The guys here are just talking about the relationships. They're marketing. They're making the change, just a chunk change. The real money is the connection of men and women, and that real money is made in the tech space with all these apps about dating, about all the new dating apps that's coming out almost each time. These are the people making that money. In our space, we're making the chunk change. Again, we talk of that, but we don't create solutions in this space in terms of always talking about men and women. That that is a problem. So my last topic is again looking at Techie about his course, about how he went to the other space. I wanted to create an AI space in the Black channel. I decided I wouldn't want to focus on that. Because again, I decided to create another in the whole sector different, dealing with tech and organic farming and food in another space. And I'm seeing more returns, and I'm not going to mention the page in this, it's not going to happen, but I'm just going to tell you, I'm seeing more returns in that space than I'm seeing in here. And this is dealing with food, organic food, and tech. Another whole space where my face doesn't even show, and all I do is commentary. And I'm seeing more, more drawn into that space where I spent 2 years talking about tech Canada. The problem is we as a culture are not focused on what so
Uh-oh.
is.
Did y'all catch that? We lost you a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I said okay. I said in a space where Techie can come in here with a free course. I looked at the course. I read that course. It's brilliant. He can come in this space and give you a brilliant course and get only 2,000 people look at that course, and go to another space and get 150. That's telling you something. That's data, good data. I'm telling you right now, the space for tech here, it's not where it's not basically driving it. Tech, this space doesn't drive tech. This space drives more of again relationship, chaos. When I say chaos, I mean fighting among each other and talking. It's the talking points are not productive. I'll say to my part.
But let me ask you this, because I'm just just I still feel like an outsider looking in. Would you say that basically, like, because you mentioned other spaces, right? That
Yeah,
where everybody's gravitating to it and you know donating and giving more attention to that, whereas over in this space it's like barely 2,000 people. Um, is it a possible chance that it's mainly a combination issue or a language issue?
I don't think so. Again, look at okay. I recently I went to a space where this guy speaks Hindi and he's a data scientist. He has he has more views than I see in tech spaces in here, and he speaks Hindi. He's an Indian
No,
guy.
not language as far as
A
what do you
language,
call it? Not like English or nothing like that.
okay,
I'm
language.
just talking about like certain words that are used to
Okay,
bring people in,
culture.
rather than being general.
Yeah, it does it matter? Apparently, it does.
Okay.
It's again, I think it's relation. Again, I think those languages are ways to relate to your customer. Yes, it does matter. But again, I think experiences should also matter. My experience as a black man in America, going through tech and going through the economy, and telling you as another black man, hey, I've gone through hell, but I found a space that can help you as another brother who's gone through this, help you to go through it. That should count too. That experience should be also a connection. But we're not looking at the experience. We either we think the experience we either ignore that experience or think that experience either that experience doesn't hold to us or that experience we just need to avoid it.
But overall, you're just saying that the hunger is not there, right? Is that
Hunger-
everybody saying that?
The hunger is the hunger. I think the hunger is there, but
Okay.
again, we are afraid of what we don't know. The culture is not pushing us into the new stuff. The culture is always saying stick to what we are used to. We
So it's
don't need
outdated. You're saying it's outdated.
outdated. We don't need to evolve into what is going on right now. We are
Can I just say this real quick? I just want to say, I'm going to add what you're saying. I slightly disagree. I think the culture is teaching people to be rugged individuals and indulge. That's what the culture is teaching people to be. Not be builders, not be creators, not doing anything that's going to matter. Just go out here and play. That's the culture right now.
Be anything you want to be.
Just play.
culture. If the culture says play, fine. But again,
Yeah.
we need to evolve around
Like
beyond.
they'll smoke your cannabis. You know what I mean? They'll smoke it.
Right. They ain't gonna
They
sell
don't
it.
care about how it was made. They don't care about the money. They
That's
don't
why I
care about
said
the business
consumer.
part of it.
And
They
the
just
funny
want to indulge.
the richest hip hop moguls are not the rappers or the creators. They're the
Mhm.
people who own them, and the
Right,
people who own them are white Jewish guys.
Mm.
right. Which means paperwork.
So now the question is why? Why isn't the creators of this music, the brilliant minds that can bring out all these ciphers and all that, not the richest humans in this industry? Why is it the person that comes in and says, I'll market it and do everything for you, then I just pay you a small percentages from all that, and then you're happy with it. But why aren't you the creator, the owner of the music, shouldn't be the most wealthiest person in that industry? The same thing with the cannabis. We are the most affected group in the cannabis, and this is true because we have the most incarcerated rates of individuals for cannabis. So my whole thing is we need to push ourselves from the culture of, again, what Jay Sharon is saying, from the culture of what we're currently being brought into, to a more evolved culture. But again, the world is becoming more global.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
global.
yeah.
It's not going back.
It's not going back at all. It's going to get
It's
harder, like you said. It's going to get harder.
it's
Yeah,
getting
You
harder.
gotta learn Mandarin too, in my opinion.
it's
I
going to get
mean,
harder, but it's easy from the standpoint if you really learn tech, right, and try to figure out a way to use tech to make money, because that's how everybody's making money. They're
yeah,
using technology. So
in,
you got if you think along that lines, but you still got to think like an entrepreneur. You still got to think
yeah,
like a dragon slayer. You know what I mean? And the truth of the matter is, these motherfuckers out here are not dragon slayers. They're damsels.
I'll
Yeah.
say this. We need to think about your mindset should be how to solve a problem. That's where everyone, that's where the money is.
Yeah,
What problem?
that's how you get money over a long period of time. You know, so providing a service that fixes a problem. It's right.
So
That's the
that's
basis of
where,
all good business.
And
so
shout out
again,
to and shout out to Stan Shelton for the super chat. He says, "You already know."
so that's what it is. And we just need to be more on that premise because again, it's getting bad out here. It's getting global. We're seeing conflicts internationally. We're seeing gas prices. We're seeing housing. We're seeing all this. But again, this space is more focused on the BS while the world is
Burning.
drastically changing. It's changing to the point where it's like we need to change with it. But again, we will remain where we are. But again, thank you. Keep it techie. You're brilliant, man. Jay Sean, good
Appreciate it.
doing your arts. Thanks. And I'll see y'all,
No
man.
problem, brother.
Thank you,
Yeah, get
brother.
to
I
your job
enjoyed
before they
that.
call CPS on you,
Thank
man.
you. But I think also the if anybody see that Malcolm X movie scene where Elijah Muhammad brought the dirty glass and the clean glass, that's how you have to look at Black YouTube. If you look at that metaphor with the dirty glass and the clean glass, then
Yeah,
that should answer your question on how do you be able to get them to drink that clean glass.
yeah. I'm
Exactly.
like
And
my mindset. You know, keep it techie. Now, I want to ask you a question. I just want to know where you stand on this. My
Hmm.
mindset is I'm just looking for those who have the aptitude. You know what I mean? My favorite word right now is aptitude. Who has the aptitude to identify them and bring them up? You know why? Because most groups, believe it or not, most white people are workers.
mhm.
All right. You know, you got this whole idea of the diamond society, everybody's an entrepreneur, business owner. Fuck no. Most of them are 9 to 5. All right. All right. Blue collar, white collar, and then 9 to 5, they work for somebody. So the truth of the matter is the cream rises to the top. And if we want to create our own industries to help our people come up and hire our people and bring our people up, we got to create our own apparatuses. What do you think about that, Chianti?
No, I agree. The people with that aptitude, but one thing I can add to that, or where I start at it, is the interest.
Mm,
Because in the tech field, you gotta be interested in this stuff. I mean, yeah, you can have the aptitude all day, but it's not gonna help you innovate and create if you don't have an interest in it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's
mm,
where I kind of start. And then once we realize the person has the aptitude, then yeah, push them in whatever direction they want to go with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? And
And
then let me talk about this statement in the chat right fast from Ray Alexander. He basically said professional image also matters for information technology careers, or the gold teeth, fitted cap, and casual dress more important than career advancement related to corporate culture fit. Now, I never said throughout this whole interview that I don't agree with people following the guidelines within the corporate culture. And you can, you can point out the things that I have, but I'm in a different situation. I've been in the field for over 15 years. I've proved myself. I have the experience. I have the certifications. I have everything I need in order to be successful in the field, and also be um, push for a career advancement. So what I'm wearing right now is what I wear pretty much every day because I work from home. Not saying you don't have to follow the corporate culture. The the actual professional image. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, I have a suit on or whatever, a three-piece suit, at that. And I portray a professional image when it comes to getting a job and being successful. But at the end of the day, if I'm working from home, I could wear whatever I want to.
Can I
You know
just
what
say
I'm
this?
saying? At the end of the day, and I'm not.
Can I give you 100 KRT? Let me
Yeah,
just
go ahead. Go ahead.
stop. You being diplomatic, man. You need to run for office. Let's just cut the bullshit. Cut the
And
bullshit.
I'm not sure if it.
Well,
And
I
Ray
mean,
Alexander, can you clear up whether or not if you were talking
No, I'm
about
not
like
even going to direct this to
married,
Ray
or you
Alexander. I'm just
was it
talking in general right now.
was it
What I'm
speaking
gonna
in
say is
general?
this:
That's why.
if
Yeah.
you making money and you your own boss, you can dress how you want. That's how that
yeah,
goes. Those
exactly.
white boys like Mark Cuban and those white boys out in Silicon Valley, they dress how they want because they have the money, they have the gold. But if you work for somebody else and that company requires you to wear a uniform or dress a certain kind of way, that's the fucking way you go and dress. In a
Yeah,
discussion. All right, this is about
exactly.
agency and power. If you got billions of dollars under your belt and you making money, especially through IT, and that's the thing about IT. IT gives you an avenue to make money online. Well,
Yep.
you know what I mean? You even got to be present. You know what I mean? Once you get things set up. There's white boys right now in the Midwest who show up to their factories in cowboy jeans and boots and dip in their mouth. You understand me? They ain't showing up in the suits and ties. But when it's an appropriate affair, then it's an appropriate affair. You know, if I show up to the White House with me and my daughter, I'm in a suit and tie. I got my daughter in the dress. Like, there's nothing wrong with dressing up. I don't understand all this conversation and this manosphere shit about shooting ties and hats and all that kind of shit. You know, the bottom line is this: if you work for somebody else and they have a dress code, you have to adhere to that dress code. UPS drivers got to wear a UPS uniform. It's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? Now, if you're making your own money and you call your own shots, you can dress how the fuck you want to dress. You know what I mean? In a discussion, it should be no discussion about what's more presentable and what's not. That has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. It's only presentable because somebody in charge of you says it's presentable. You understand me? If you want to sit at home, grow your hair out, don't get a haircut and got dreads everywhere and all that, and that's your style, but you making millions of dollars as a venture capitalist or investing in property, or you got an IT company that's running online, you know what I mean? And you don't have to step into a boardroom, then you good, you cool in the game.
Right.
Matter of fact, you might have a skill set where you can do something at home and you work in IT. I work at home. When I'm at home teleworking from the government, I'm sitting at home in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yep.
I hardly
You
ever
understand
see
me?
Dapper Dan in a suit. I'm just saying.
I actually have a Hotep t-shirt on right now. It says Hotep on it. You understand me? And this is how I'm going to work in the morning. When I turn when I turn my computer on in the morning, I log in, I'm teleworking, I'm dressed how I want to dress. It depends on your situation.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So it's all about agency, it's all about position, and it's really when it comes down to it, if the man who holds the gold rules.
Yeah,
That's
and
an
then I also
interesting
want
point.
to add to and that's the thing. He put these questions out there or comments, and I want to let me hit them up right fast.
You got another one. What
Calorindo
else you got?
done,
What would you
but
highlight?
it was another one. He said, "Your education matters." Sal Khan, founder of Khan Academy, completed both a bachelor's and a master's degree from MIT, as well as MBA from Harvard. Quality of training and credentials really matter, and yes, they do. But a lot of times when you talk about these prestigious universities, that's when people go to those prestigious universities, it's more about the network. You have you have a network that's associated with a lot of powerful people, or a lot of powerful people come out of those. And maybe I'm not explaining it right, but that's based on what I see. The network is what people go to those schools for. That's what they get out of it. I'm not saying um I'm not saying you can't be very successful at if you don't go to one of these schools, but you're not gonna have that network, and that network is very valuable when you go to those types of schools. So I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, the tech industry is opened up to where anyone can actually get into it. You just don't have that network, but it's opened up to anybody. You can Yeah, I know a lot of people that are just certified, have certifications, and they make over $100,000 a year. I know people that don't have the schooling at all. You know what I'm saying? Outside of a high school degree, and yeah, that's anecdotal. but at the end of the day, it is possible. You just need to have the skills, and it don't have to be from these prestigious universities. And at the end of the day, if you want to have something prestigious behind it, you can go to edx.org, and they have MIT courses there that you can actually take on your own for free, that or the equivalent, it's like a micro degree that you can get that's similar to going to the actual school. It's the same exact curriculum, and in order to get this training and the schooling that you want. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And I'm not going at you, Ray Alexander. I don't want you to I don't want nobody to be upset with me or whatever. I'm just putting the information out there, and just adding to what you're actually saying by putting my thoughts on top of it. So
So
whatever.
mainly, your delivery for the most part is to at least get your foot in the door, if need be, and you don't have to do a whole bunch of stuff, but just make sure you get a start just to get get your
Mhm.
what do you call it, your thirst quenched, and then build on top of that once
Yeah,
once time permit.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just want to say to Ray real quick, that wasn't for you neither, Ray. All right, for me. All right, that was a good question, but I'm just this debate in the space between that I've been listening to or hearing for the last few weeks. I'm sick of it. It's a bunch of idiotic niggas talking crazy. All right. Obviously, none of them are professional people. People do what they got to do. When I worked at the Pentagon, I worked on an E-ring. I wore a suit. That's what it called for. I was working for 3 and 4-star generals directly. You're not wearing Timbs in baggy jeans around them. All right. Neither are the white boys. The white boys are not in there in flip flops and cargo pants and plaid shirts. Everybody's dressed up. That's what the duty calls for. That's how it goes. When you get your coin, you get your coin. You know why? Because I don't want brothers in here judging each other on how they dress. That's stupid. You get your money how you need to get your money. Now, I will tell any young man, when you go to an interview, look professional, look presentable. Where are you going to get your job? You see what I'm saying? If you're going to get a job, then you got to look the part. If not, get out here, hold your own nuts, make your own money, how you get it, how you live, get a skill set that people really want, and then you can do what you want to do. You can dress lax, you can dress down. Matter of fact, in IT, here's the funny thing about IT, keep it techie. IT, we get the dress down all the time anyway, especially when you're on the tech side. You know what I mean? When you want to come up, because you usually in computer rooms, sometimes you got to run cables, you got to move equipment. You're allowed to even be in a professional building dressed down. You see what I'm saying? So that comes along with that job. But if I'm working in the human resource office, they're not going. Come on, man! I can't be up in there with t-shirts on it. What the fuck are we talking about?
I'm laughing at Jerome because we got some. He's probably talking about Suge Knight and
Yeah,
all
you
these
know what?
people.
I'm gonna do this for my man Ari right here. Let me do this for my man Ari. And you goddamn right, I wear suits. You know what I mean? That first picture was me in Egypt, riding on camels with my daughter. I'm in a hoodie and sneakers and jeans, but I'm getting treated like a sheik because I got money. You understand me? So they treat me like a king. But when I'm at work, I'm going to a company function, I look like this, clean as fuck. You know what I mean? So you can hate on all you want, but your bitch better not be at that function. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Ebony Magazine,
Your girl better not be there.
and
You know,
we got a Claridon 3500. That's the LMP I was telling y'all about, y'all. That's where I met Jay Shine, through this brother right here. Go ahead.
well, thank you for the introduction, Art. One of the things that I've noticed a lot of times is in the black community, you have so many characters that complain about everything. They complain as to why they don't have anything, but many of them don't want to get up and try. As it relates to the technology, I see a lot of different technologies that they use, but it doesn't dawn on them to build these technologies. They've got a lot of conversation. Like I see characters who play video games all day, every day, grown men. It hasn't occurred to them that maybe they should build the video games,
Right,
build
right.
the apps, put something together. They're already in them, they're already consuming. Why not be a builder of this?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. That most of us in this space probably we come from the standpoint of being consumers. You know, that's why like I'm only getting 29 people here because basically it's something that we got to sell for the most part. And but again, like I mentioned before, in marketing, what do they use to sell? Women. You
Okay.
got cheerleaders in sports. You know what I'm saying? NASCAR, you got the lady with the Daisy Dukes and the checkered flags. You got the women in between rounds in boxing with the big posters. And it's like, we may want to talk about other sectors or whatever, but for some reason, remember what John Henry Clark said? We out Christian to Christian, we out Muslim to Muslim. Hell, we out sports fan to sports fans. So um, that's where it is right now. It seems like, unless somebody wants to tell me anything different.
You see, for me, I'm not somebody who wants to go out there and promote the negative stereotypes of black people. However, you have guys who are stuck on that. Couldn't some guys get together and make a ghetto video game with all the elements of the hood? That would be a multi-million-dollar move right there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they have one already? Any like auto Grand Theft Auto?
They sure do. They
And
sure do.
and I
But
don't
yo,
want to
one
miss this
thing,
opportunity. Oh, my bad.
going back
What
to
LP?
engineering cannabis though, what I was throwing the ball at him for a minute. He didn't catch it that much. But he mentioned hip hop and tech. Wouldn't that be a vehicle that could be used to bring people in tech? No,
Well,
yes.
yeah, I mean they're doing it. You know what I mean? They're doing it. We gotta give brothers credit where credit's due. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned Chameleonaire a minute ago. You know, Big
Hmm.
Boy was doing it before my man got shot. He was doing it. Uh, Nipsey, Jay-Z has done it. You know, he went over there. See, what I don't like is ignorance. You know that remember that photo he had when he bought the streaming service and he was a bunch of white people. It was him and Beyonce in a room full of white people.
Yes, I remember.
That's because he bought a white company over here in Norway. That's where Spotify and a lot of these streaming services are. They over here in Europe. So the picture was not supposed to have anybody black in it. He basically bought a white baby. Right? He bought a brand new white baby, you know what I mean, and and took it over. And y'all need to go online and learn about, Black Panther Ltd, his limited, consortium that he has over here in Europe to buy up shit. Very smart what he did. You know what I
You
mean?
know,
And
okay.
and then everybody who works for his company and work for him directly, they all benefit from that. He hired new people to learn that business. You know what I mean? And so he's bringing his own people into the business, and and into streaming services and all that kind of stuff. And then he sold the company, even though he still owns a part of it. These are the things that brothers are doing already. Well, my question is stop questioning what hasn't been done. Once you go out here and do something. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's a
That's
real
what we need.
statement.
That's the
Yes.
attitude we need right now. Let's go out here and do something, and maybe you might get seen by a chameleonaire. You might get seen by a big boy who's out here investing. These are brothers who are looking for opportunities to invest in startups. And you know what I mean? So create something, get your grind on, get a skill set, or come up with something incredible and using technology to do it, because that's the only way you're gonna really make money nowadays anyway, unless you in infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Those-
I 100% agree with Clarendon. Yeah, I mean, you're right, bro. I mean, that's something I've been trying to push as well. That's why I always talk about Linux and open source technologies. You can leverage a lot of this. Well, a lot of people that are creating these new apps and new applications, and I think earlier me and Art were talking about energy conservation,
Security.
security, type of tech that's being used, you know, and sell marketed to sell to people. Um, and they're using a lot of open source technology or open source programs out there that people can actually leverage to create something to sell. So I 100% I agree with you when you talk about, people need to start, instead of just looking at the consumer side of it, look at how some of this stuff is made. And this goes back to what Jay Shine was talking about a long time ago earlier. When I was young, I used to, break stuff and fix it. I wanted to see how stuff actually worked behind, the curtain, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I think a lot more Black people need to be interested in, is understanding how things work and then leveraging that to actually create something. And that's how you get into this tech space and create something Black juggernaut, like what we were talking about earlier, you know.
One thing that I've realized is that it's so important to identify the dangers nowadays, primarily connected to the hip hop music. Previous to this style of music, this style of hip hop, I was really, really into the 90s hip hop, early 2000. But if you look
Uh-oh.
now, you see the degeneracy of the music. And the problem is that it's come out in such a way that the people are being damaged psychologically. So, as much as people should be looking into certain things, they're being dumbed down by the music. I'm sorry to say, but at this stage, most of the hip hop is not to be consumed the way things are going. And I'm not against hip hop. I am against the way things are going right now.
Mm. I mean, are we letting the whole advertisement stereotypes and all that kind of stuff off the hook? Um, where we're not really addressing how that is a selling point to our people.
Well, that's what happens when you don't control your culture.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? You know, these other groups of people are making lots of money off that degenerate music. You know what I mean? And they're the ones that decide what comes out. And we gotta get away from that. When we were running Stacks and running Motown, we decided we came out. You know what I mean? From the executive side, we're back or the audience, right? We need to take our culture back. See, I don't want to have silent conversations no more. You know what I mean? Like, you know, some old motherfuckers sitting on the hill looking down on the destruction of the Black community. I can't do that no more. Either you're going to do something about it, participate in some kind of way, you know, and money talks. So when we talk about all levels, right? We talk about IT, you talk about identifying young talent, right? You're talking about management, and you also talking about investment. Investors have a lot of saying things too. If you're putting money behind shit, you get to call shots. You know what I mean? You get to say what you like and what you don't like. You get to say what you don't want to see. See, but a lot of these brothers are not being financed by us now, are they? They're being financed by other groups of people from outside our community. So they don't care what happens to our community. You know, it's kind of like Leo Cohen said, I got to feed my family. When he was called, when he was questioned on it. When they questioned him on, you know, Leo Cohen, you know, they questioned him on that shit. And he said, look, man, I got to feed my family, you know, with a straight face. They don't care. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit. Meanwhile, they won't promote that to their children. You know, but the problem is this also. A lot of things that go on with us is also due to proximity. You know, so that's why I like mentoring young boys, because I can get them out of that space. They can see what, you know, when I bring them to my house, or we bring them to my homeboy Aunt house down in Virginia. We take DC kids, you know what I mean, or kids from, you know, Maryland, and we bring them down to Virginia and see how, you know, you can. This is the outcome. We're not just talking to you; we're showing you. You know, this is how you can live if you just order your steps, be responsible, get some goals, write things down, and start meeting your metrics. You know what I mean? You know, just start trying to create a mind that's orderly and not so noisy. Because what you're seeing out here with these young people right now is minds of just mental noise. They just fucked up out here. They're emotionally distraught. You know what I mean? They're just all over the place. They don't know how to be responsible. And that's where leadership comes in. Now, you can't save everybody. All right. But you start taking your people and your group on a trajectory out of it. It's not going to happen overnight. There's no silver bullet for this. You know what I mean? But using technology, though, will help, because we don't have to do all the old stuff. Everybody's making money on the internet now. So this is something that can transmit. They already playing on their phones. They're already using streaming apps. They're already using all kinds of gaming apps. This is not something that's foreign to them. Now let's talk business. How can you make money with your time in a day? Why are you wasting time on the internet fucking around? Why are you wasting time listening to the same shit over and over again? Why are you wasting time playing games all day? How can you make some money doing this? You can actually make money fucking around. If you know what I mean, it's just changing the mindset of people. I don't think it's hard. The motivation is money. The motivation is showing them the outcomes. When I pull up, I'm showing them an outcome. This is how I live. And then when I'm mentoring a young man directly, I show them what I do. I live on a spreadsheet. You know what I'm saying? I show them how what it takes to get from A to B. And a lot of young people right now, whether they're growing up in hip hop or not, they just don't understand that. You know, so we can look at today and see the destruction and what I call the mental side of the black community. But at the end of the day, it's think about it. We're not Ukraine. We don't have bombs being dropped on us. So how bad is it? You feel me? Let's just identify those who can take us to the next level. Let's identify the new leaders, whether it's in entrepreneurship, IT, and whatever, and they can pull their peer group along, and that's all. That's all we can do, and that's all other groups do. I say this all the time. In the early 1900s, you had a bunch of white orphans running around the East Coast. Because the immigrants that were coming over, the poor white immigrants are coming over. They had broken families. They had all kinds of crazy shit going on in their societies. Women working in nunneries and stuff. There was a lot of things I'm just not going to get into. Watch shows like Bold Empire. They'll give you a snapshot of what I'm talking about. The gangs in New York. You know what I mean? This is where a lot of mobs are getting their muscle from. But at some point, they wanted to civilize their people. Right. And they started giving them jobs. So now all those kids that would have been running around, knocking you ahead, working for gangsters and all that. Oh, yeah, they're your police officers now. they're your firemen. You know what I mean? They're in blue collar jobs. They have craftsmanship, jobs. They work for unions, et cetera, et cetera. This is what they did, and it didn't happen overnight. Now, the funny thing about black people is that we had a culture of cooperation and hard work. We just got to get back to it. You just got to get back to it.
Aviation.
I hear you, fam. Okay, so keep it techie. So you got anything else to share, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to run though, because
Okay,
gotta go
so,
take care of some stuff at the house.
So we work with your time, brother. So
Yeah.
give us some last words, and then we'll have everybody else follow what you have.
So let me get out of here.
Okay.
So technically, you had the floor.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you roll. Thanks for letting me come up. Art. Thanks for letting me come up and talk.
Leo Power, like always.
Yeah, good talking to you, Jay Shine, as always.
Same to you, Jay Shine. Thank you.
My doubt, brother. Just remember, brothers, man. Business is life. Life is business. Y'all handle yours. I'm out.
All right. I'm gonna get my lion roar sound next time. So.
All right.
Okay. And then Clarendon, you want to say what you got to say before Keep It Techie hitting this off?
Sure. I just want to say thank you very much for having me on the panel. It's great to see how your show has grown. And I'm just grateful to be here and to join in the good conversation. That's pretty much it.
Well, I appreciate you coming through, y'all. This the guy I was talking about yesterday. So you have a channel, or are you just doing your...
I have the channel, the Clarendon 3500. There isn't much structure to it. You just show up, you talk about whatever you want to talk about, and we call it a night or a day. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so cool. You guys see his name in the chat, so go ahead and subscribe. But thank you for coming through, brother.
Not a problem. Take care.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
Likewise.
Yes, sir.
And shout out to engineering. Shout out to Engineering Cannabis as well, man. I definitely appreciate them coming through.
Yeah, the kids in the background too, man. We family. We old, man. We family.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nah, man, I definitely appreciate this, Art, for doing this. You know what I'm saying? It's always great to talk about this stuff and just try to put it out there for as many people as possible, that we can help to get into, this field. And like I've said on your panel a couple of different times, I mean, majority of the positions I worked in, I've been like one of the only black people in the room. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to change that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm around this space, you know what I'm saying, is to try to influence that or try to bring people into it, you know what I'm saying? So, and I also shout out to, O'Shea for actually starting it. He the reason I actually created a channel, because he was saying, hey, we need more professionals to, start making content in this space and just showing people what you can actually do, that there are black people out here doing these professional type of jobs and tech jobs and all that stuff. So I definitely want to give him a shout out as well. for what he did, but for bringing this all together, you know what I'm saying? And definitely, man, I appreciate you, Ort. I see you growing, you know what I'm saying, and you building a platform that's actually beneficial to people, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely beneficial. You helping people, whether you know it or not, or see it or not. I mean, you're definitely helping people, I think, by creating those conversations that are definitely needed for people in the Black community. That's why I'm always here, and I try to support you as much as I can. Come up whenever the topic is, centered around something I can actually chime into. Otherwise, I'm in the chat, listening and getting guidance while I'm doing things, to try to create what I need to create. So shout out to you. And that's an awesome picture, man. I'm gonna need you to go on and share that with me, man. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
dope, man.
just give me your address, email your address, and I'll send it to you, fam.
Okay.
This is my pay and homage to you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I appreciate your stuff and everything that you have to offer. And unfortunately, my son is trying to be a high school teacher.
Okay.
So I wish I can send him your way as far as tech, but eventually I got some other. I already sent other students to your way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm quite sure they perused through your channel and found things specifically, because I think it
Okay.
makes a difference when they hear things from a Black man versus anybody else.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
don't think so because they're like, why? They try to avoid the race thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the studies have shown that when they learn things from Black people, it is more expansive
Yeah.
than anybody else. So it's not just a Black thing, but
Mm-hmm.
just learning from a Black man, it means a lot.
No,
So I
and that's
appreciate
true
you.
though. Like when I was trying to learn Linux, and it's not that I was just going out my way to look for another Black person that actually taught this stuff, because the people that were putting out the information, it was good. It just, it just I just looked for someone that was actually putting out this information the exact same way, and I didn't see anybody, so I was like, well, I might as well step in and try to do it. I mean, I don't know all this stuff, but I can learn it and try to put the information out there from a Black experience, or to a Black experience, someone from Black experience. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope.
Well, I appreciate you, fam.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everybody coming through. Y'all could have been somewhere else, but y'all came with us here. And I'm quite sure Keeping Techie is going to be doing more with us here, and probably get some play-by-play or some tutorials or things like that. And because I think it really is really important that we get more into this, so we won't be at the mercy of other people that are creating it. We need to be the creators too, just like Keeping Techie said, Engineering Cannabis, Jay Shine, and um, Claridon. So,
Hmm.
so appreciate you guys coming out, and shout out to Aqua Techie for the Cash App. I'm Rick James. Okay, you guys. So we gonna shut this down, and Dr. Dunbar, you next. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a Dr. Dunbar one too. So anybody that's kind of degree squeamish, that panel that interview won't be for y'all. But appreciate you guys coming through. Thanks again. Peace and hair grease.